Hello, I am Ronan Pawn, and welcome to a twitch.tv/Ronan Pawn live stream on twitch.tv/Ronan Pawn, your only source. It's just me now. Everything else is down right now. Twitter, Facebook, Comcast down. How the hell am I doing this? It's shocking, but I am piercing through all layers of reality, coming to you live on a 6-second delay or so. It's something like that. How you doing, everybody in chat? Welcome to Kerbal Space Program. Hang on, this is my favorite part. Okay, you can shut up. This is good though. It's good music. Welcome to Kerbal Space Program. It's what we do on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, days, other days. Sometimes not even on days. Sometimes we do it between days. It's just really hard to do. You just got to like wedge right in there in the temporal flow of. It's a heavy temporal flow month. This. Hello, little magnets. How you doing? It's a great pawn relaunch. Yeah. Welcome to the show. What's the show? What are we doing? Hey, did anybody else get like a message from the IRS saying we know what you did and where to find you? I mean, that your 2021 Economic Impact Payment Notice Award, you know, for the people who live in the United States. If you don't live in the United States, you're not a citizen in the United States, congratulations, number one. Number two, if you got a letter from the IRS, you could just throw that away. It doesn't really matter. If you live here, you can also just throw it away. It doesn't really matter. I was gonna let you. Here's a little trick right here. If you click warp to sunrise, the sun comes up. Here's another little trick with the IRS. So the most money I've ever made in a single year of my life. Are you hang on? Are you ready? Are you? Let's see. Are you ready? $24,000, maybe $26,000 as an individual, you know, just living or just an individual with an individual income. I think $24,000 to $26,000. That's the most money I've ever made in a single year of my life. I was delivering newspapers for the Oakland Press. So you know, middle of the night, driving the wrong way on roads in winter, in a rear-wheel drive vehicle, just fun as hell. You just, you know, you get to the end of a cul-de-sac, you just fucking gun it and wrench it to one side. And, you know, there's no, because you're in the snow, so it's, but you spin around. It was fun. I made some good mon. I was a contractor, and so nobody was taking the money out, and, I don't know, I felt like not paying the taxes. I have no problem with paying taxes. I think I just kind of didn't think about it next year. I don't know. I might have been homeless. My life has been a weird one. I was busy, and I didn't file my taxes, apparently. Hello, Dramation. You have entered the pawn zone, a journey of the mind. Don't look for it in the pawn zone. Look for it in the mirror. What is that quote? The fear. A disease more deadly than don't look for it in the twilight zone. Look for it in the mirror. Or is it hate of something? Anyway, hate the IRS. Right, brought me back. Good, thank you. I have no problem with the IRS. I have no problem paying my taxes. I have problems with the tax code, but so does the IRS. Like, they hate it. But anyway, that's our senators. So maybe we should do something about just getting rid of that. You know, instead of being like, we need to get rid of the IRS. What if we got rid of the senators? That's an option. IRS. Right. So here's a little trick that you can try yourself takes a minute to do. But if you just don't pay your taxes, see, and you don't, like, work above board, you know, there's no, like, they can't just, like, take money from you. They have 3 years in order to put a signature on a piece of paper saying that you owe them money that you never gave them. So, number one, you got 3 years. They can claim it. It goes back, that kind of thing. 3 years. And then, after they put the signature on the piece of paper, that they can now, like, take money from you or try to get money from you, then they have, I believe, 7 years to collect. So, maximum, if they wait until the last possible day when they could put that signature on that piece of paper, 10 years. If you can just dodge the IRS for 10 years, then you'll never have to pay taxes. I got a bill for about like $3,500, something like that, $3,500 worth of back taxes. I got that bill like the year before. It was the first time I'd ever heard of it, a year before it would have been expiring. They don't tell you it's expiring. I just looked it up and said, Jesus, when is this from? 2000 what? So yeah, I did the math and I looked it up and said, what's the limit on this thing? You know, it's not murder, so it's got to expire at some point. It was like, oh, I just have to wait them out for another 6 to 8 months? All right. And I got a whole bunch of letters. You know, they had finally caught up to me, found where I was living, whatever. I got a whole bunch of letters saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, you need to pay your thing. And I just waited, and then one day, there were no more letters. And my tax record was clean. Little trick for you. Try it at home, see how it works out. It takes about a decade to pull off, but it just happened to work out that way. I lived a strange life is the thing. And I'm still doing it here live on twitch.tv/Twilight Pawn Zone. We're between, what are we between? Frames. We're between the frames. We're space station. Space station. Space station. So we built the space station, and it's finished, finally. I think. It's completely and totally finished. It's the TRRS LKO SS HMS by RP, obviously. So we'll go up there and show you the space station again. Why do you keep showing? We don't need to go to the space station. It's a sight to behold. Just to remind you of what we're doing in the world. There she is, all however many parts of her, all frame consuming parts that this is. If I press a button, I don't know which one it is. One? Yeah, takes a minute, but she does start to spin up there. Yeah. And should be creating centrifugal forces, or the opposite, non-centrifugal. What's a fugal? What's the opposite of fugal? Modal, non-centrimodal forces, enough to create 1 G's worth of gravity to anyone who's in there. Just don't run really fast in the opposite direction and then jump, because we can make no guarantees what's going to happen there. But yeah, that's our space station, and what we need to do, time to take Bill's ship to the station. That's right, Dramason, that's what we're going to do, and Val is bringing the gas, yeah. And is that going to work at all? The Val bringing the gas part is questionable. It's quite questionable. We need to... Val is riding our shuttle right now. Oh, God. It gets really freaky when you rotate around it while it's rotating it. This is our docking port. We managed to squeeze Bill's... actually, it's Bob. Yeah, it's Bob. Bob's shuttle. Bob's lander. He's got a lander part of his HMS Spaceboat we'll be visiting in just a moment. And we managed to break that off the main ship, grab it with Val's ship because it didn't have anything on it, no liquid fuel, no monoprop, anything. Grabbed it out of floating in space, got it linked up, transferred over enough Delta V and monoprop and stuff so that it can get itself to the space station, finally. But our plan is to try and bring both ships over, park at the ends of both of these docking ports. Incidentally, if you're just joining us, if you've never seen this before, these are our Kerbal lawn jarts. You put a Kerbal in a chair right there in an external command seat, and you just chuck them on the retrograde of Kerbin, and they come down in one piece. So we got 11 of those left. We've already chucked one Kerbal down, and yeah. And that's kind of cool. When it's empty, it'll just have a bunch of little weird rings. That's neat. I don't hate that either. But yeah, so Who's bringing over first? I guess we'll do the one that we know will work, which is Bob. Bob's craft is coming over, the HMS Spaceboat. So if we go to map mode, should only be 3 things in orbit now. We did a bit of cleaning up recently as well. Took out a garbage truck, knocked everything down to 48K, and then went back and deleted it. So, right next to each other in space is Val and Bob. So if I switch over to one of them, I should be able to just bracket over to the other one. Shoots it to Valganistan? Should we invade? I mean, bring freedom? Yes, for honor and oil. Nuclear things. So we've drifted a bit from Bob. But Bob now has 231 meters per second at delta V and monoprop and all kinds of things. Bob is also on the dark side. And when he's doing research, we run out of electricity. So, I'm just going to have you stop that research so I don't have to worry about that so much overnight. Sun may be rising soon. It is. I don't have to actually stop your research then. Carry on, son. 33 science already, 739 data in the pod there. He and Sanri are really cracking the books. Let's go ahead and, yeah, get some light on this thing. Are your lights on, by the way? There we go. See? The sea is below us, and then the sunset. It's always sunset on this ship above. Yes, sir. There's the lights. Okay. Full electric charge now. Solar panels into the wind. We need to get ourselves over to the space station. So, I want to target you. Oh, we're already targeting you. Good. Man, the things the game remembers across gameplays and doesn't remember, you know, while you're in the game. Intersect and intersect. So what's our... We're miles from the space station. Let me see where I left us. So if I created a maneuver node here, and I right-clicked and I said, what's going to happen over the course of time? How many times would we have to go round? It'd be several days waiting, but we will eventually link up. God damn, this freaking... And the buttons are so small and the drift on the mouse. Well, and the thing is moving out from underneath me as we go. So, yeah. Somewhere about there, we'd have an intersect of 11.9. That's 5 days from now we would be waiting for that. Okay. Out of curiosity, can I make that better here and now? What's your app and Perry? Is this ours or his? I'm very confused. I guess this would be ours, the green one? 72, no, I'm not sure. 72 and 77, and we're at 88 and 70. Could I, with the tiniest one, let me just put us on our retrograde, and with a bit of monoprop, which is apparently on right now, see what happens to our intersect. 11.9, if I just fire a little bit. With mono. Nothing. Nothing. Give it a big burst. Not a damn thing. Well, huzzah, then. That's not us, so that's a... None of these are us. I don't think I understand what's going on here. What? Our app is 88. Am I just, like, my monoprop is so weak I'm doing absolutely nothing? Because, is that supposed to be us? Well, let me try, like, actually a burn. So, separation 11.9, hold that. We're out of fuel. We're not. We just need to be able to transfer across here. Enable cross-feed. Okay. And I'm just seeing if we could make that so that we just, you know, end up right at him. It doesn't, I don't get it. I'm gonna stop doing things, is what I'm gonna stop doing, and we're just gonna warp around 5 days from now, I guess. Oh, great, our periapsis assistant. Stop. It's below 70.25, which is what we need. Give me on my prograde. What we need in order to warp above 50. Ugh. This friggin' game. Where's the parry? It's over there. Alright, take me over to our mutual Apawapsies, apparently. And I'll raise her up. Yeah, I don't know why our separation wouldn't change as I was changing our Apawapses 5 days from now. Like, that should be a pretty significant, you know, thing. A significant amount that would change. So, periapsis is now above the line, which means now when I click go to the thing, okay, yeah, that's a little bit quicker. Spin cycle. Yep, and right. So, we are now coming up on, where are we? Who are we? When are we? So we're going, why would you be there instead of back here at the maneuver node? Drop that, because, yeah, things have changed, so the maneuver node does not update, and we've just, God knows, whatted. Fuck. Add me a maneuver, and did we go past it? No. Love the game. Really waiting for him to finish it. That'll be fun. I want you to be like way back here so I've got time in order to try and do things with it, I guess. Warp me around again for another day. So 11.9 kilometers, relative speed of 65.6. Most of that difference, if I recall correctly, is in our ascension, descensions, in our angle, our eccentricity around the planet. So actually, if we come right up to our ascending node, then I can cancel a lot of that by something. Fill in the gap. So relative speed is increasing when I do that, so it'll be an anti-normal. To pull it down. No, it won't. What? Very odd. What do I... What need I to be doing? Radial? Alright, radial gets it done for us from that position. Separation of... And then you switch over to something else that does 10.6 there, and then if I go retro a little bit, just back over here. Okay, more radial. And then down to there, and then more retro, and then more radial. And then more retro. This is so weird. And then more U, apparently. And then more U. Okay, that's within 0.6. And then I'd have to be very fine and subtle. Still just 0.6. So from there, maybe there's a little bit of normal. It's not helping our relative speed any. Now it is. There you go. Little prick. Alright, that's what we're gonna do. We'll do that burn. You don't have a target hold. It's fine, we're coming up on that now. RCS is off. It'll be somewhere around here. 39-second burn. Come up to, where's my node? There it is. Node and T-2, 1. 40-some seconds. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting more confused and worse at the encounters as time goes on. There's something that I don't, like, I'm not connecting with anymore for the for the initial encounter, for the I'm still 10 kilometers out, what do I need to do and where can I burn and what would be most, you know, beneficial. Still something that I never used to struggle with, I've just started struggling with. You ever have that? Where you used to be good at something and then you kind of lose it? And there we go. A perfect something. Our actual intersect is 0.4 kilometers. You're either high above or low below. Hey, if you want to come on to me, that'll do it. Thank you, Jermaine. But it's just something that, like, it used to just happen. It used to just click. I didn't have to think about it. Now I think about it and I'm still confused. But we are coming in nicely over here. Let's warp to it. Periapsis is still ever so slightly above atmosphere. We really got to reposition the space station to be at a stable circular orbit instead of at multiple different heights. Oh, here comes the space station. I don't know if you noticed that we're down to 8 frames per second or not. But yeah, we're close to that space station there now. Alright, now Bob should be easy enough to link up to. I guess we've got docking ports here and he. Is that true? We got a docking port there on its underbelly, so that's where we'll link up. 8.9 overtaking. Get me to a retro. And we'll decrease our speed. In fact, I'll burn a little bit from here, I think. Oh, no, I'm doing that wrong. Need to be pushing between the anti-target and the retrograde, which will be over here. Thank you. No, you're still doing it wrong. Need to be pushing you toward the thing. I told you. What did I just say? Brain no good do now. Used to, not now. Now do no good. Do. Where's my prograde at this point? Should be coming. That's gotta be it. Killing the engines. How we doing? Huh? Where the hell's the anti-target here? Jesus, still? Still though? Still with this? I'm just trying to not lose the speed that we've got. 4.7 is very nice. So if I just push from here. Keep pushing. There we go. Alright, now we should be going at it. Because we just saw the speed go from decreasing to increasing, so we just flitted past the point there. Yep. Now we're on our way in. Let's see if we can't make it look nice as we come in. Yar! We be pulling up to port now. Space station, ho! That's what we used to call your mom. Alright, let's do some warping. Yar that space station, ho, though. Ho-do. Oh, good. It's the dark side. Well, everybody's got lights. So, can I see, like, a docking arm yet? It'll be between... There's one. There's one. Yeah. If it weren't... There we go. Up, fucking... There we go. That's where we're headed. In fact, we do pretty good to swing by it a little bit. Like that. And we can approach carefully and come to a full and complete stop. All last time, or all last stream, We were trying to get Bob over here on the scant amount of fuel that he had on him. Used it all up, and then whatever we've used here is what I required in the end, apparently. We will be coming in this way because we're going to use this docking port. Ultimately. Let's go ahead and come to a full and complete stop. Or, you know, a little bit in the opposite direction even. RCS N. And we have a full and complete-ish stop. The ring should be going. I feel it's important that we not cheat. That, you know, if Kerbal were a better game, then it would still be rotating. It would, like, remember that it had momentum in the parts that are on the things that they are where they are. So we've got SAS on there. Maybe we shouldn't for a dock because we're going to shake it a little bit, and I'm going to try it anyway. We're here, F5, good time for an F5. We're going to now switch over to controlling from there. I'm going to aim the camera there, and I'm going to go into a locked camera mode. Alright. So from about here, what do we want to do? You don't want to really point directly at it. I mean, it's fine. We're going to have to move a little bit anyway. That seems like better. Ooh, yeah. I think you're going to have to go ahead and... Nah, we'll be fine. We'll link up to the space station. They'll start powering us. So, RCS now. And let's do that. Do I not? I've got to have... Oh, the control from points aren't right. When I'm controlling from here. Well, fuck me then. I guess we're controlling for... Because I definitely do have RCS in all those directions, but controlling from there does not give me what I need, so apparently we're going to control from here. Damn it. You still could, you know, aim the camera where I told you. I didn't change that just because I clicked control from here. That doesn't imply something else. So RCS on. Yeah, that's you are doing what I want you to do. I can't see on the ball because of all of this. Because of all these things. What if I told you to control point up? And do I have to tell you to aim camera again? No, you're still aimed there. So yeah, consistency, not one of Kerbal Space Program's strong suits. Now I can at least see here what's going on. And then I do have to sort of... No, now I don't have up and down. I also don't have H and N. Oh, this game is awesome. You know, I mean, I've got... Look at, I spent the money in order, but I can only control them when we're looking at it in a direction that's the least helpful. Cool. Cool, game. Loving it. By which I mean, go fuck yourself. So I guess we do have to control point forward, just for me to have the controls that I built into the fucking thing. Why are we rocking so much? Like, that's us. That's us rocking. There's nothing that would be causing rocking on our ship. Oh, wow, this game. I think I'll F5 from here. What the fuck was that about? Alright, I'm gonna do a time warp just to kill whatever rock we had that we shouldn't. What? Why are you spinning toward me? You're not doing those things. The station is causing it. Right. Why? So there's just a huge magnetic field around the station. Massive, really. Okay, RCS-K. Are we in the gravitational well of the space station? This is much more than 4 frames per second. Well, this is ship 1. Shukan... Shukan Tekeno Uso. This is ship 1. There's another ship that we're gonna have to link up later too. And I'm just finding out how many angles of control I don't have. That I'm supposed to have. Nope, other way. Other way. I have to control from not the best control point from it. Otherwise I don't have the RCS. What the fuck? You know what it is? It's because I programmed the RCS to respond only to certain angles, and then those angles don't change with the... when we change the control point or something. It's a bit fucking ridiculous, basically. You know, does that... Who would have thought that Kerbal Space Program would be a bit fucking ridiculous in the way that it applies rules? Almost as though there are multiple versions of the same rule. Because they didn't go with one. Alright, so push it down, and slow our forward motion. Should I pull that in? I think we got clearance, you know, just enough. $200 and something electric charge remaining, and draining. Some jarts are in the way. I think we'll be fine. So, you know, probably we won't. Okay, N. RCS off. Just gonna drift in and grab it now. Boom. Now we can suck the electricity from the space station. Good connection. Very solid, very... Yep, just everything being... SAS off, I think, maybe. Might want to do a little time warp. couple times here. We had a good connection there, and now cracking. And now cracking. Cracking forces, cracking everything up, cracking. Stop. Alright, I think what we need to do, best thing we could do, number 1, F5, number 2 is just get the hell away from this thing. Let's go get the other ship that needs to come in before that one rips itself apart. So, switch over to Valentina. Space Kraken dislikes your fake gravity spiny things. Fake gravity? Oh, spinny fake gravity. That is all exactly correct. You're calling me out really hard, and I'm embarrassed. I'm quite out of practice for KSP. I kind of stopped playing when they made ion engines barely work in atmosphere. Did they do that? There's a lot of things that barely work in the game. It's hard to keep track. Back in the Naught 90. The Naught 90 was a good one, though. They put a lot of impressive stuff. I mean, the first versions of a lot of stuff that didn't necessarily work well. But they at least put a lot of it in. What? No, with the landing gear. Turn the lights on. There we go. Middle of the bleeding night, of course turn the lights on. We don't travel with our pod open, you know. I've seen what happened to Kirk when he did, and then just the tribbles. They just get in there everywhere, and I don't know if you know this or not, but there's trouble. Causes trouble. So, set you as the target. How many times would we have to go around to just catch up with you, or are we losing you, actually? We are losing you. Okay. So, my parry, my app. See, when the blue stays blue for my craft, it's almost, it's legible, nearly. And then your app and your parry. We need to get under him. So it's really just our apoapsis that's a problem right now. Wow, our periapsis is also kind of a problem in that we're below 70,250. You have to be 70,250 meters above the surface, or you can't warp past 50, because, again, rules that are inconsistent. Before the atmospheric update. What was was the 090 the atmospheric update? There was a lot of stuff in the 090, I remember. I was part of the Kerbal media group, the YouTube Kerbal media group at that point, where, we got early access and made videos about the stuff in order to show it off. I don't recommend getting into that kind of relationship with any company, having had that experience now myself. But yeah, I remember, like, I think there were so many features that I was like 24 hours late on publishing my video, because there was just so much to cover, so much to get into. And then I saw other people, like, cover and stuff like that. That was the thing. Like, I put so much work into it. It wasn't like a paid scenario. It was just, hey, you're part of the media group, and there's a new one coming out, and you're interested in the game, and you get early access to it. So, the benefit to doing something like that on YouTube is you're getting out there into the search relevance list before everybody else, etc. So at 70 and 72, we'll be below him all the time. Yeah, which should get us to start catching up with him. So there's a benefit to it, but man, I was not business savvy at that point. I had too much genuineness to me. And I was working real hard to try and, like, do right by the community, do right by all the people who would be watching my video, that kind of thing. And then I see other people show up and just kind of shit something out. Where they didn't even cover all of the new features, or didn't, like, the exciting stuff. I didn't cover every little tiny thing. It's not like but it's like, you gotta make a fucking effort. And I was seeing a lot of people who weren't making efforts. F5. And go. When I did there was Kerbal's KSP TV here on Twitch, and I was one of the presenters over the day for, like, the release of a new version of the game. I got there. Why is electric charge draining? Yeah, there you go. I'm like, we've got solar panels, for fuck's sake. And I swear I was like the 6th or 7th, but, like, other people had been on all day long, and nobody had pulled out. It was the release where they added drilling for fuel. And maybe that was the 090. I don't remember. But whatever it was, I went live and I was like, so did anybody show off the drilling yet? And people were like, what? Drilling? No. Like, are you kidding me? We finally have a reason to land on planets and do things and set up. You could establish all this stuff, and nobody covered the friggin' drilling? The 1.0 was atmospheric. The 090 was the beta than ever update. Drill was 1.0. Okay, yeah, so then, yeah. I was the first one to do two things. One, the first one to actually show the community on the launch day of KSP TV before they could actually get the game, because it was like the, announcement launch or whatever, and within 24 hours they were going to sell the game, I think. Before they could get the game, before they could push the update, as the first one to show people how the drill worked after half a days of other presenters. It's like, what the hell were you doing? I was also the first ever to fly under the R&D, the research bridge, in a plane in 1.0. As far as anybody knows, I'm the first recorded person to ever fly a plane underneath that bridge in 1.0. I know a guy who literally stopped playing because the resource stuff was so delayed. He played the Kethane mod all the time, and then the devs promised it was coming to the game, and then it was literally years before it was added, and he kept waiting for it until he lost interest. That's what you get, Kerbal developed bastards. 13.3 kilometers to the station. Where would I do anything? Where's, like, give me, at our descending node, and I'll just see, for closing that gap, I'll just tinker. until we get something. I want to actually look and see where we would, what we would have to do. So, neither normal nor anti-normal significantly yet. If I retro, we lose it. No, wait. If I retro, we get closer. From the ascending node, we get down to there. Then if I add radial out, I get a little bit more. If I go past it with radial out and then hit it with more retrograde. So, more. Alright, switch to this one. If I give it more than it says we need on the radial out, and then I hit it with the, it's actually prograde that I'm adding. I'm just doing it on the retrograde thing. So, adding radial out, adding prograde. And then that's as close as you wanna let me get there. 0.8. Anything to be had from, yeah, I can reduce our relative speed by doing, by adding the normal adjustment. So right about there is where we get diminisher, where we've lost the returns on that, and then if I like that, separation of, let's have the half kilometer, 7.4 meter per second difference on that. 30.2 meters per second of DV is what it's going to cost us when we get there. So let's, get there. I remember when you could fly with just ailerons and some solar panels. Not 90 was the best version. I came on in 0.24. That was when I started playing. And I think the Not 90 probably was the best version, yeah. As I recall it. Alright, get on your target. Burn time of 1 second, but we're just gonna drizzle out the Delta V here. Yeah, I could have used Time Warp to stop dead on it, but it's fine. On that target. And electric charge. Yeah. The SAS is in and out, draining hard. This is us, that's us. Alright. Come on up to that maneuver node. And burn. Just finish that off. Yeah, alright, went a little bit past it. There we go. That's what the monoprop is for. Oh, well, I don't have much monoprop, and I'm gonna need it for docking. I shouldn't use any monoprop. We transferred all our monoprop over to something, to Bob. Alright, so we get over there, we're gonna have a separation of 0.2 kilometers, relative speed of 8.5 meters per second. That's brilliant, beautiful, F5. And, when we get there, we're gonna find out what the frame rate's gonna look like. We got all these parts. I may have been exaggerating on the 1,000 parts, too. I'm not sure what the part count is gonna add up to, but let's just bring me in, say, to there. Auto warp. Time warp has stopped. We hit atmosphere. Son of a bitch! Son of a bitching bit. We gotta get this this thing up somewhere else. How? I'm that much lower? Yeah, balls to you. 68.1 too. That's not nothing. Give me orbital. That is not nothing. And we can sustain it. It's just, son of a bitch. I gotta get this thing back up to the 74.5, 75 kilometer place that I had it before. And I also need to, like, start paying attention when I'm doing these maneuvers and we're so close to LKO. Really, I guess what we'd want it would be more like 80. 80 for our low Kerbal orbit space station. Then we wouldn't have to deal with this kind of thing. So I'm just gonna fizz warp. And we see our separation. Okay, I've already, yep, all of those things just fucked everything up. It was so subtle before. Let's just slam through. Yeah, I really didn't need to burn anything, did I? We would have just pushed through it. We would have lost a little bit. Whatevs. Managed to do a single stage to Mimus Lander with the aerospike once. That was tight on fuel. That sounds cool. I like those kinds of missions. So get me back into space if you don't mind. What's our current height? That's his height. Our height is 69.1. I'm gonna... No? Okay, that's not... That was I pressing the C button. Alright, fuck it, just get me back out. We'll get wherever we're getting. 69.5. Space. Hey, space. Thank you. Now, from space, can I fucking fix this again now? I'm gonna make a maneuver to try and get an idea of what might happen here that would help. Alright, so give me SAS, give me prograde, drop that. 'Cause apparently if I just put some prograde on, we'll make it better. And presumably, if I burn up at the same time, probably even better than that. Doesn't look like it. Maybe. And we're kind of not close enough to be trying to bull our prograde to it yet. Maybe I should just be burning prograde. I think it'll be less Delta V. Yeah, our relative speed is going stupid though. And then over there it's gonna be whatever. Get me to 2 kilometers and then I'll just start doing the thing. It's just gonna be, are you okay, yep, there we go. We got physics. We're in the same zone as him. Now how are we doing on 4 frames per second? Are we getting there? I don't wanna find out, you know. I didn't mean to lie to anybody or anything. Yeah. It's... So where is he? Should be behind us. 0.9, 1.8. These numbers aren't right. If we're getting closer to him still, then it was lying to me in map mode, you know? Oh wait, no, that's because you're orbital and you want to see target. There you go. That's the deal. Yep. Get over here and start burning toward him. It's like 6 frames per second? Alright, I'll try and make that worse for you. Burn. Okay. Gets me heading somewhat in his direction. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Look for the anti-target. Okay, I got close. 23.6 in his general direction. This looks like actual footage from space, you know? But deep space, where we could only get back this many frames per second. You have no monoprop. Oh, shit, I used all the monoprop? When did I do that? Oh, RCS was firing on its own. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it use monoprop to get the SAS done? It won't be the first time that I've docked without mono when I really, really needed mono. But this is not the craft I have to do it on. The shuttle, it has no docking ports except for in the bay. So I'm not even sure that this is going to be dockable. I wasn't from, you know, the start. Let's go ahead and get more on target. Burn a little bit of DV. And reduce our speed. Okay. You can get retro and hold. This is gonna be fun. Or the opposite. Worst case scenario, we could bring Bob's ship over, park that in the shuttle, give it back some of the monoprop that we traded with it last time. Yeah, notice that when I warp because of the low frames per second, like it changes how far we are from things. Okay, let's slow her down. Slow her down. Whoa! Don't push too far off. Where is the docking port that I'm going to? It looks like it's on that side. Yep. Let's go ahead and roll over. Rover. Get on my retro. No, you're coming into it. I don't need you coming into it that close. Okay. I mean, closer is better. We could conceivably steer the space station into the shuttle, too. Where the needs to be. Damn it. I tried to do a shift X, but we're at such low monoprop. I was unable. It didn't respond when I hit shift. Just go around the equator of our nav ball here, because we're now going just slowly away from it. Okay, no, that is, you do want to be below the horizon, apparently. For the rotation. And that'd be the rotation that I want right there. It doesn't so much negate our drift. Let's open up the bays. and F5 and head over to the space station. Press the 1 key. Nope, that's done a bunch of stuff that happens on Bob's ship because he's attached. Yep, no, didn't want to do any of that stuff. Just wanted to get you started again. Here's our 4 frames. I promised you 4 frames per second. There she is. Go ahead and fuck yourself there. Alright, that's starting up. That might even be 3 frames per second, honestly. If anything, I have done better than advertised. So yeah, we've got... This is our docking port, and this is our docking port. How in God's name would we get that in there is the question that probably doesn't have an answer. I told you that this just might not even be able to be done. And especially without any monoprop, I don't think there's even really a question about whether or not it can be done. I think the answer is it cannot. With monoprop, it may still not be able to be done. But we're going to need the monoprop, which would mean getting Bob free, I think. Have we got anybody up here to steer the ship? No, but it is probe enabled, I believe. And we are F5 from here. I'll F5 one more time. And I'm going to try and undock. I don't care which one's the primary docking node. I just want you to undock. Now, how much mono do you have in you? 42. Okay. Yeah, this is fun. Love doing things at nothing frames per second. Well, the whole craft just wobbles and jiggles for no physics-based reason, anyway. I'm gonna go to locked cam on you. I'm gonna control from here. I'm gonna aim camera there. And then we're gonna target, I guess, that one. Alrighty. From this position, RCS, SAS, H. Actually, like that. I gotta clear these solar panels too. As I go. If I hit 8, that's bringing in antennas. Nope, hit 8 again. 9. Fucking game. Have to hit everything twice because it always assumes that it needs to deploy first, regardless of the state of it. So RCS H. Yeah, that is the direction we want to be going in. Alright, now we've got a marker. 0.1 meters per second in that direction. RCS off. Warp. Okay, let's redeploy the panels. Get into some general orientation. Wow, with the wobble. Okay. RCS, H. There you go, 0.2 meters per second. Should give us a little bit less drift. I do have to come over here a little bit first. Do a little warp. Okay, I'm going to try and come in, I'm setting my prograde just a bit above him because we're going to flap this thing down in the wrong direction. Fuck. Alright, not a problem if you can just, nope, wrong direction. If you can do this in a hurry. Gonna pull those solar panels in again, and our antennas. Do we have clearance? We've done it once before, we should have clearance. Okay, I think, yeah, we nudged. Some H, don't start pushing me away yet. And a bit like that. And now this is gonna get nasty, I think. Because our camera is attached to that. Oh, the whole ship is attached to that, so it's SAS when I do that. It's assuming that I want everything to everything all at once. Thank you. You know, that's beautiful. It's fine. We're fine. Everything's just fine, is how it is, apparently. Okay. Now, are my directions still correct? No, they're not. I have neither H nor N from that perspective. So if I control from here, and again, oh, the camera is still aimed there. Good. RCS. Oh, I'm hitting fucking lights on and off. There we go. Nope. Yep. Which direction is anything? Trying to distract me? Nope. Nope. You know you can get in here. You've done it before. Was he able to get it? He was able to get in here. I remember there being lots of space even. I remember there being, I mean, like a couple of inches, but there was space. RCS off. If I take like that, and then RCS, wrong way, U, N. Okay, wrong way, N. Drive it down. I know we went to the other docking port last time, but if we were able to slide it in before, then we should still be able to slide it in. Like, there shouldn't be a significant difference between one of these and the other. How's your clearance? Clearance? Do these doors open? No, they all open at the same rate. N. Yeah, I remember us having fucking lots of clearance. David Picotti. Thanks, Ronan, for your hard work. I enjoy a lot of your streams. Keep up your great job. Greetings from Portugal. Thank you for the 20-bit cheer. Friendly reminder to drink water. Who? Me? All I have here is beer. This is why you know work now. Why you know do the thing that you used to do, and you were fine. Is it... Did I have this in a different way or something? And if we were at the other end, we'd be in the same position. If I were upside down, if I brought it in top, like we'd still have to get the clearance on the sides of these. I don't understand. I do not understand. Because we've done it before on the other side of things. I mean, I guess we're gonna go to the other side of things and try and do this one instead, but this should not be necessary. Set you as a target. No, I didn't mean to do that. Push me away. Out. And then it's going to be rotation once we've got the clearance. It'll be Q&E style rotation. Just like that. Straight up and down. Ren Phoenix. With the 18 months worth of subscription, welcome back to the Big Dick Club. Thank you so much. Notice me, Pawn Sensei. I can't notice anything right now in the midst of this docking maneuver and the craziness that we can't get this attached to the place that we did in the last live stream. Like, we've been here, we've done this, we know it works. Oh, it's N, not H. There should be no real difference. I'm gonna slow us down. And then I believe it's going to be, yeah, that angle of rotation. Something like that. And then a little bit this way. Push in. Like, if we can't clear because of the sides of this thing, then we couldn't have gotten it in the first time. And we did. So, So there. Checkmate. Motherfucker. And the actual interface is itself in my way right now. I can't see. See us off. Nope, wrong way. IQ. Yep. And we just bumped and are moving away again. We did it. It was like a last second deployment of that. I remember. I do remember that. But we had room for days when we did it. And right now I'm literally just scraping against it. I keep tapping N in order to keep us from bouncing away. Look at how fucking far off we are there. I muscle in. Yeah, it won't just muscle in. And now I've moved the shuttle, so that's not good. We're probably falling out of orbit, because that happens every time I fucking fire a monoprop for more than a couple of seconds, right? Why not open doors more? I can. I prefer not to, because it seems cheaty. How the fuck did I end in the things and stuff? We did it before. Is it you getting in the way? It might be that. Track the boom. Do you have physics all the way up there? You do. It was the fucking boom arm. I guess. Maybe. Derp. RCS. N. RCS was already on. N. Get the fuck in there. 100% the long band antenna. Come on. Slide in. I did it so nicely last time, too, and this time I'm just kind of muscling it in. Doesn't feel as satisfying. But yeah, we slide right in there, no problem. Like a glove. Okay, yep. Thanks for the sound effects, you're welcome. I just about ran out of breath doing it. Just all kinds of clearance for days. So now some of this monoprop that we moved over to him in the first fucking place, I have to steal back so that we can get this back to the... And we're probably miles away from the space station now. Like, we're still close enough to be fucked for the physics of it. Yeah. Okay, give me like free cam so I can find the space station and get us headed back in its direction. Well, give me a target. There you go. So if I do that, yeah, this is actually a decent place to burn, I think. Am I controlling from a weird place or something? Things feel odd. Let me just make sure that I'm controlling from here. Yes, things felt odd for a reason. So where am I, and where is the things and the stuff? Let's get us headed back in the direction of the damn thing. Aha! See, the shuttle has a lot of friggin'... We got 1,700 liquid fuel on this thing. So if we can get this hooked up, then we can transfer the liquid fuel from the shuttle across the space station to Bob's science space boat, to his vessel, and we can leave the space station full on fuel. And have, you know, not made a waste of bringing the shuttle up here, which was done ages ago for no particular reason. Shockingly, I am very distracted, though. Sorry, chat. Sorry, everyone in chat. I do notice you, Ren Phoenix, and I thank you again for the 18 months on an 8-month streak. Let's come right in at this motherfucker. And we'll try and just park up in her vicinity again. I don't know which side we want to be coming at. Where our port is, I still can't tell myself. Okay, yeah, this is the side that's got Bob's ship on it, so not great. Go ahead and do me some warp, because at 0.5 meter per second, it's going to take me a year to get where we're trying to get. And if I keep burning like this, I'm going to make it take even longer. So I'm going to try and come around to the prograde end of things a little bit. And pull more from here. Get speed as we get our direction back. I hit Shift and X, and it totally detected those inputs just a few minutes too late. Shut up, you're fine. Okay, warp me in. What? What? We did not hit anything. I just want to be clear here. We did not hit a fucking thing. You all see, but I'm pretty sure the game thinks we did. Same thing earlier when we had, like, wobble that was being translated to our craft from the space station. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but, you know, here we are. There we go. We're parked. Who knows what drift we've got, and also what's going to happen with the gravity of here in the well of the space station. F5. Alright, so we don't have far to go for anything at this point. We need to transfer over some monoprop from Bob's to us. So I'm going to put all the monoprop up there because we got... Ooh, it's not a lot of space, is it? We're just going to split it. We can get all the monoprop back, you know, later. So if you and you went to... Yeah, it's going to be hard. I mean, we can fill one ball at a time, I guess. In. You hold 20? That's a lot to fill my balls with. 20 and 16, 24 and 16 should add up to what we need for 2 balls. I just don't want to throw off the balancing. we don't have to worry about balancing here. Give yourself 10 in this guy, 10 in the other. Apparently we've got a total of 40, so we'll be splitting them that way. So here's 10 monoprop on that side, and then you, and you in. Give me about 10 on this side. It's a big, heavy craft. This kind of minor imbalance won't count for nothing. And stopping at 10. Good. That's actually really close to being dead even. That was 10.16. It's 10. I did it perfectly. It's easier because we are at 4 frames per second. We've definitely come back from 4 frames per second. Things are... they're great, is what they are. They're just fucking peachy. We still don't know whether it will be possible to dock the shuttle, but now we can try. And we're going to try. So here's what's going to happen. Number 1 in F5. We're going to undock Bob's thing. He's going to go back over to his craft, which is over here on the space station. We're going to dock him back to his vessel. Then we are going to try with the 20 monoprop that we've just given to this big old 40-ton shuttle, which is what we call it. We're going to try and dock to that with the shuttle and the ports and everything. We're going to take a pass at it, even though it seems like it probably isn't something we'll be able to do. I don't know. There's a lot of things over time that I've said we probably can't do, and then I've found a way. So, so that's what we're going to do, but we're going to do that after a live stream break, because we've been here almost an hour and a half. The other thing that remind me to do this when we come back, I should transfer as much fuel from this onto that as I possibly can, because in the event that we can't do this linking up thing, then, you know, I don't know. I don't want to transfer 200 units of liquid fuel in batches over to Bob's ship. That doesn't seem like a good fun time to me. But we'll figure all that out and more when we return from this 7-minute live stream break that I'm going to have for me. So meet me back here in 7 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Pawn not out. Hello, I am the Ronin Pawn, and welcome back to twitch.tv/Ronin Pawn livestream on twitch.tv/Ronin Pawn. I came back just as the music was ending. Late, I know, but the music was, so it's better, it's good, it's wonderful. This is 4 frames per second. I think I've made the title accurate, at least in one extent. So, we've got, behind me, let's see if we can't just, pan, oh Jesus. And then if we did like, maybe like that, there you go. So, in this vicinity, what you're seeing is our spin and ring space station. And then over here's our 40-ton shuttle with, the lander portion of Bob's science vessel docked in its shuttle with a clearance of about 3 microns on each side. Not really that. I think we actually merged through the doors a little bit when we parked it in there. But we're transferring fuel and monoprop across to try and get both of these vessels docked up to the space station. And I don't know that the 40-ton shuttle there is going to be able to do it at all. Because it was not designed for this. It was designed before the space station. And it could use some more design. There might be a way. We might be able to. We're giving it our best effort anyway. In all likelihood, a failure. All right. So Vale's got us here. We transferred the monoprop across. The next thing I want to do is, just in case we can't actually accomplish what we came here to accomplish, we want to make sure that we've topped off this vessel as much as we can with as much liquid fuel and oxidizer as we can get for it. So that's going to be from you. Let's pull the fuel from both of those places and put it into here, because Val has 2,000 delta V here in the form of 1,727 liquid fuel. Well, actually, some of that's on board here, but she's probably got like 1,300 liquid fuel herself, or 1,500 or something like that. I want to make sure that we've got as much as we can get. In fact, if I'm going to be doing this a number of times, I might as well pin you and you. And then, yeah, that's the one we want to go into. So, in on the liquid and the oxidizer, and all the places that we can store it. And are those all of the places that we can store it? We've got fuel container there, fuel container there. The pod itself doesn't. Then we got science. Then we got a stack of shit. And then we got a little monoprop ball at the top. Yeah. I think that might be all of the places. So, yeah, good. Thank you for pinning those up. And now I'll remember there's one more place where we could store fuel. I think that's it. And, we're parked up at almost no meters per second to the space station. Oh, Jesus. Don't with the wobbling. We need to just get those two separated from one another and then handle any drift or whatever. So, just merging in here so that I can try and get a right click on an undock. Okay, there we go. And yeah, you're a-going, and you probably pushed us in a direction too. Okay, give me locked to something, control from somewhere. I'm gonna, no, that's not the right thing. So let's put our docking port back in its correct position. And whenever it decides to fucking get there, at 4 frames per second, control from here, aim camera here, and because I put the docking port on upside down, we are now upside down in this vessel. What are you gonna do? You know, do it better next time would be a good idea. So we want to be up and over there, and just point in the general direction of the space station, and with a little RCS, with a lot of RCS. Wow, that's a lot of RCS it's taken. Well, it's very slow frame rate, so it's less than you think it is. Okay. Okay, don't need any more of that. Want to be going generally in that direction. Let's look at the shuttle and see what it's got relative to our docking port, which will be that one when it's time. 0.1 meters per second. Your drift is acceptable. Hello, a guy called Pie. Think about that guy I had sex with who didn't want to be kissed because he wasn't gay. Hey, Pawn. Hey, how you doing? That's how we greet around here. At least it's how Pie greets us around here. Welcome in. How was your week? Oh, wait, I already heard about it. Thanks. Alright, just going to do a little bit of warping at these very few frames per second that we do have. And at about this height, start pulling our prograde down. It is there, really, that I'm trying to get to. So if I can double-click on you. Thank you. And we do want to pass it a little bit on one side. Also, probably be a good idea to swing our boom out of the way of a few things as we pass. Still looks like you're not going to have clearance there, friend. Okay. There we go. That should do it. We can. There should be no reason why we can't go ahead and redeploy our magnetometer boom, which I have on a button. Extend boom. Do we have the clearance? We do have the clearance. We should also be able to redeploy... Well, how are we doing on electric? I will wait until we're back in the place. So, N, slow down. Okay. RCS off. Put me on the prograde. And we could aim the camera up here. RCS back on. Come to a fullish, completish stop. And then rotate. Okay, I believe we're upside down relative to the craft right now. But we're just getting the vague position. And now we'll spin upright without knocking a solar panel free. Get our boom aligned with their booms, much as we can. Seems good. And we can always do minor tweaks just by rotating the docking port after we've attached. So bring me up. That's a good view. Bring me left. Bit of wobble in the space station itself. Okay. It's pretty good. Start driving us in. Come on now. And RCS off. We have connection. Alright. That's an F5. Right before everything starts jiggling and explodes or something. And then we can never come back from it. Okay, good. Everybody's parked. Everybody's stable-ish. Looks like the space station has picked up some velocity that we need to match now. Shit. How much monoprop have we got, and how quickly are we going to go through it? These are questions that I have. SAS on, RCS on. Going through it a lot quicker than the other craft, I'll tell you that. Okay, we're actually drifting ever so slowly in that direction. I think our only hope here is to come in line with the rings. Oof. We're gonna have to undeploy some solar panels on the space station as well. Are your lights off? Turn your damn lights on. Turn them off, turn them on. I swear there's supposed to be extra lights on the exterior of this thing, but whatever. So the problem with this docking scenario is our docking ports are in the bay. Yeah. So docking ports in the bay, and our docking arm has a whole bunch of emergency save a Kerbal return units, known as the Kerbal lawn jarts. No, you're starting to try and align by the ball instead of by eye, and you really need it to be by eye, which is going to be easier if you're in locked camera mode. Okay. Electric charge is good. Why? Okay, I see what's going on here. Get that lined up. RCS. Let's do like that. Just a tiny drift to the right is what I want off of that. So, what are the odds, you know? What are the odds? Not good. I would say not good. Let's go over the space station, and where our docking arm is, I think I'm going to retract that solar panel. I'm going to retract both of these, just for safety's sake. There you go. There's two panels in. And we're just going to try and, you know, visually fit these things together. Do a little visual math and find out that it ain't going to happen. Almost certainly. RCS, you said you wanted a little bit drift in that direction, and you were right. If we warp, that stops the space station rotating, but we've got it on motors, so it'll start back up. I mean, from here, it definitely looks like we've got clearance. So as long as we continue this forced perspective reality, then we'll be fine. A little bit more warp. Starting to lose it now. Starting to overdrift. Bring us dead in at the thing. Okay. From here, I think I just want to get it kind of dead in the middle, and then we'll just see where we stand. So. There we go. Okay. So now, if I were to nose us down... Slowly and carefully. Oh, I'm hitting the space station. Yeah, I was gonna bring that guy in, but I didn't think that we were that close. Okay, I've just bumped us. Which direction do I need to be holding in order to cancel what's going on here? Stop. Stop. I thought he was still behind our engine. Okay. RCS-N. We're drifting away. And now we're drifting in a bit too quickly. Alright, back over to the space station, because yeah, I was looking at that, and I was very much of the opinion, where the fuck are we? That we can collapse these guys into their launch positions, if I can just get a hold of the right part. That's, yeah, that nose cone sure is taking up a lot of space here. Come on. Come on. There you go. Target angle, close her out. Close her down. Okay. Pulls us back into... Oh, shit. You're coming in a hurry, ain't you? Okay, spin you around. Stop. Stop with the spinning. And RCS on. Push away, push away, push away. We should be going away from it right now, and it does not seem as though we are. We are. Okay. Ever so slowly, anyway. Yeah, the space station has its own rotation, so I'm gonna have to use a little time warp to just stabilize everything. Don't hit nothing, don't hit nothing, don't hit nothing. Hello then, loyalty. It looked laggy because it absolutely is laggy. And also what we're doing almost certainly won't work. But I cannot be convinced by, you know, appeal to reason. It has to be... The truth must be shoved down my throat. So, please settle. RCS. That's the wrong direction. You need to be going that way. How are we doing on monoprop? Halfway through what we transferred over for this. And we're in a pretty good position, but... It's actually going to be more like there, I presume. And then we'll do a little bit of warp. Drift in. Straight at it. Under it even would be a good idea. Go to fine controls. And if I can just not bump off of the space station this time, we'll at least get to see for sure that there ain't no fucking way in hell that we're gonna accomplish this. Okay, yeah, you're still going. Is it the other side of things that I need you actually, then? It seems like you're coming in faster than I'd like on that angle, so maybe it's here that I want. I think it is. Okay, and some more time warp. Just to give you a three-dimensional view of what the fuck is going on here. Uh-huh. Yes. Okay. 0.0 meters per second difference between us, which will still be some. Yeah, we're still drifting in ways. Wow. Wow, look at the clearance. Okay, I'm not hearing the sound effect anymore. But it was working. It just wasn't firing enough of it for it to really notice. So there's our clearance at this point, and ain't no way in hell that we managed to get a docking port connection from there. I can't even get it on screen for you. To there. If we were coming in at the rear instead, we'd have more wing clearance. We'd still have the same problem. Possibly even worse. So yeah, there's no way. Wow. I didn't put any extra. Oh. Shit. I don't know which way to go because I'm looking at it backwards. Yeah, no, it was that way. It was that way. Yep. I like just hovering here. That's fun. That's fun, yeah. But, I don't see any way it's happening. F5. That's a bad idea. We are consuming monoprop when I do that, okay. I'm just pulling away. I'm pushing away from it. Can't hear it because it was fine controls. Now it's not fine controls. Yeah, we cannot get a dock with this space day or with this shuttle. Can't be done. Not there anyway. RCS off, F5 from there. It's a little bit safer. Uh, back over to the space station. I'll redeploy solar panel 1. Solar panel 2 is going to have to stay in for reasons. What fucking camera angle is this? Give me free. Wow, look at that. Oh, I love the warning lights too when they kick on. By the way, they're kicking on once every 2 seconds, I think, on and off. So, it looks like a little bit more than 2 seconds. Is there any way? Yeah. Then I could imagine refueling this. There is. Are you... Did you manage to drift into... No, you got clearance. Yeah. And drift I left you should be away. So... I am having an idea. Imagine, if you will, that Bob's ship, anyway, under probe control, this part, breaks off, attaches to one of these guys at the end, and then we shove him into there. That doesn't get us anywhere. You still can't, like, get a transfer from one to the other. How much empty fuel space do we have here? We've got 540 liquid fuel times 2, so we've got 1,080 units of liquid fuel, not counting that there could be some in there as well that would want to be refueled. We have 540 or something like that here, right? 180 times 3 is 4 with a 2, and then 3, 540. So there's 540 in there. Yeah, 3 of those equals 1 of these. So we can refill 1 of these for him and then be completely empty on the space station and have no fuel up here. And Val doesn't and isn't, and so forth and so on. If we could get, like, what would be ideal would be if we could get just Bob's ship hooked to here. We've only got room on this side of things for about 100 liquid fuel, so it would take 10 comings and goings to park him up in there and then come back. We're not going to do that. 540 liquid fuel gives Bob enough for probably another mission there. It's just a damn shame that the shuttle is here and is useless unless somebody else can see something else that's something, etc. You know, I'm almost shocked that I didn't put a docking port somewhere else, but it's a shuttle. It was always meant to just come up here and release or capture something, you know, mainly just release something, bring it up into orbit, drop it, but it has no ability to hook up to anything else. That's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. I think what we're gonna just do then is fill Bob's HMS spaceboat up as much as it can from the from the space station. We've leached some fuel from Val there as well, and then we'll break him off and see what kind of Delta V he's got. Considering that we're already in orbit around Kerbal, he doesn't need a lot of Delta V, you know, to get anywhere that he wants to in the Kerbal SOI. So yeah, I'm gonna dump. How are you gonna do this in order to, like, well, you do it like this. You get that, and you get that, and you pin those two, and then you dump from these guys one at a time. So give me out, out, and then we'll get even transfer into the new vessel here. So yeah, damn shame. I kind of assumed that it was going to be this way. Out, out. That we wouldn't be able to get the shuttle in. I mean, it would have had to, you know, slide it in at a parallel angle. So, what were the odds? But a lot of the things that we do around here would fall in the category of what are the odds, and we get it done anyway. Out, out. And at least Bob will be up here with some amount of, if not fullness in his tanks. I think he'll be recharged for another mission to the moon, which would be where he's going, because we came from Minmus. If he were going on another science mission, it'd be to the moon. That's all of our liquid fuel stores. Yeah. So I can drop those, and then it would be a matter of making sure that he's got enough monoprop. Do we have... Oh, God. Good idea, wasn't it, to have so that the monoprop storage is in these spinning balls that I'll have to right-click on every time that I want to do it. If I warp, can I right-click on them at just a 5 times warp and get a hold of them? How much monoprop you want to give him here? Well, I just kind of want to do it evenly, especially across the rings. The rings ought to be as evenly balanced as I can have them. But then you got all these balls. All them balls. Hoof. I guess I'm gonna fill this if I top that one up. In. Did you, like, autosave while I was clicking and now you don't? Fuck. Pull you up and then... No. Rotation locked. That's not helping at all. Son of a bitch. All those windows that I opened. Oh, because we're in warp still. Fuck me. This is a pain in the ass. Give me you. 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 And then, as much as a pain in my ass as this is, I think I'm just gonna top this one off because I don't care. So out of warp and in. We'll only be using the monoprop for docking and landing, and the lander is a lot lighter, and, you know, I think this 20 monoprop will be fine. We're also making the space station a lot lighter by emptying it of all of its liquid fuel stores and monoprop. Alright, we're topped off there. Great. Space, the shuttle's floating away, and I guess that's just what it's gonna do. Let's find out from Bob, after an F5, how much fuel he has now. That's... doesn't look like it's a... There you go, undock. And now, Bob, what kind of DV you got? 1,497 meters per second of delta V in Bob Kerman's space boat. So 1497. From here, it takes like 900 to get out to Minmus. Boy, that could still end up being like problematic in the long run. While we're here, because I can see me, you know, forgetting and then fucking everything up, Oh, we're already full there. And we're full there. Okay, good. If I disable crossfeed, now we got 1,500 meters per second. I don't understand why that would be the case. But okay, 1,500 meters per second. This is going to be the first time in a while that we've looked at the Delta V map. So can I get a... Oh, hey, I forget to send this one out. Tweet. Delta V KSP. Thank you. So 1,500 meters per second. We can get out to the moon, park there, go down with the lander, come back up. I think we're good. Like 930, and then we park there, 860 we park there, and then can we get home? It's actually going to be tight for a moon thing if we sent Bob there next. Should probably be where he's going next, but okay. You know what I might do is F9 to when Bob was still attached to the space station, because I don't got a mission for him right now, right here today. Might as well leave him parked up. F9. And let's just see if the entire world doesn't, you know, collapse. If the entire save file doesn't catch on fire in my hard drive and the Kraken, you know, destroys ages and ages of work that we've put into this thing. No. Huzzah. How's our frame rate? Maybe a little bit better. All right. Hit the one. If I hit the 1 key, then it's going to fire all of that stuff. Ah, fuck it. Hit the 1 key. And then I'll just have to close down all of these science scans that Bob's trying to take. You know, after Kerbal has all day to think about it. There we go, back down to the old couple of frames per second. There, okay, We're back, baby. We're back. You are supposed to have, like, some antennas, and these are supposed to be deployed. How did you think that I was clicking on that? How? What? You know what? We're fine. We'll just have to remember all of that for another day. And Val is up here with all of that liquid fuel. I don't know what to do about that. But I think we've completed this mission, you know. We've done everything that we could. We found out there's no way to get the shuttle attached to here. What we could do is, you know, have Bill Kerman bring up some kind of just arm attachment that would allow us to dock that to here, you know. That would be possible, and then it makes sense that we have, the, you know, we'd be able to use all this Delta V. Be cheaper to, like, lift an arm up than it would be to send another 40-ton shuttle to space. And then we'd be able to refuel this. I don't know. I don't know. I know that we're done with that. That I am putting behind us, friends. And we need a new thing to do. First time in a while. The space station is complete. We've used it. Maybe not particularly effectively, but we have... Oh, look at the frame rate. Look at what it's supposed to be. Oh, that's so nice. We need another mission. So, anybody got anything? What do you wanna? What are you gonna give me money for? Basically, is what I want to know. Where's my money, man? Let's go over to mission control. Position satellite in geosynchronous orbit of Kerbal is the only thing available to me because I've already full up, and that ain't worth the kind of money that we need to be seeing come in. New orbital station around Minmus. Supports 5 Kerbals. Antenna, docking port, the huge. We could fly Val's ship out there. No, she doesn't have space for 5 Kerbals on it. Damn it. We've done that before. We gave her shuttle space in the cargo bay for 5 Kerbals and then just flew it there, parked it there for 10 seconds and flew away, and they gave us money. Plant a flag on Minmus, plant a flag on the moon, science data from space around Minmus, explore Eve, ferry 3 tourists, ferry 2 tourists, ferry 4 tourists, All these people want to go somewhere. This is the next like big thing that I want to get into. Probably the next live stream is going to be, let's try and build something that is going to be our Kerbal tourist package that can run people around all of Kerbin's sphere of influence, the whole planetary system, and be able to like drop them at the places that they want, and then they can figure out their own way home or whatever. No, we got to bring them home, but like, you know, they want to land on Minmus, they want to orbit around the moon, and so it's like what we want is a grand tour vessel, but a grand tour vessel that only drops down the people that have paid to land on Minmus and land on the moon, and then they come back. Because I'm not going to land all these people. You pay me, or you don't get to see the damn thing. So you guys want moon, land on Minmus. I believe when I took these contracts, I made sure that they didn't want to land on two things. That they might want to orbit around a bunch of different stuff, pass by, fly by, but these people all just want to land on Minmus, so I accepted them. These people want to land on the moon, yeah, and otherwise they're just flybys and whatever else. These people want to land on the moon, flyby of Minmus, land on Minmus. So, like, it's okay because I can send this guy on the land on the moon mission and this guy land on Minmus if we don't make a grand tour Carnival cruise ship. I really like that idea though, don't you? Isn't that cool, just having a tour bus. Rescue Kelbert from orbit of Minmus. So there's a dude stuck out on Minmus. Duna. Satellite at Gilly. We gotta clear some of these out and make some damn money. All we have for the moon right now is plant a flag on it. It sucks because I kind of want to send Bob, now that we got his ship fueled, up to the moon. He'd make us 115 grand by going there, and then he'd get all the science that we'll ever need. He probably already has all the science we'll ever need because he brought back a shit ton of it from Minmus when he went. Yeah, I think I'm going to send Bob to the moon today to try and land it somewhere and get some science and come back, and we'll see if we don't get him stranded. We've got Val parked up there with a whole bunch of fuel. She could just run around all the places and keep saving him over and over again. But so I'm going to reject this. Finish construction of a rover on the surface of the moon. Well, we'd have to have Bill up there to do the engineering. That would be worth some money, but I'm not sending Bill up, so no. Position satellite in an equatorial orbit of the moon. Well, I want a mission where you send me to get some science or something on the moon, not where I got to come up with something new. Extract 400 units of ore from Minmus. We're not ready. Extract 500 units of ore from Minmus. I like that that's a mission. I'll do that eventually. I like that you will pay me for doing that while I'm doing something that's helpful for me. I'm tempted to click the accept contract button and go to the moon without... Alright. Alright. I think that brings us to another live stream break. When we come back then, we will send Bob to the moon for more science, I suppose. And maybe we can just do a bunch of sciencey things. You know, because we've got... I believe we've still got some science on board Bob's ship that can be either transmitted or is meant to be brought down. We can transfer the science that we want to be brought down onto the space station. Next Kerbal that we need to drop down. Yeah, next Kerbal that we need to drop can pick that stuff up, put it in his pockets, and come down. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Little bit early for another live stream break, but it's a breaking point in what we're doing here. We're witnessing Palm in his prime years here, before the accident, and even before his 10th anniversary. For the classic real-time retro live pawn. I like your mixing of... So you have attained oneness with the Ohm, then, is the thing. 7-minute live stream break. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. Then Science and Moon på nada.
Do you know the secrets of making friends? They are so simple and easy. Well, that looks easy enough. And Joey is going to try it out.
Summer's here, but just for a while. Give up a little bit. The night arrives, now I can smile. Just a little bit, speak up a little bit. It's past my bedtime, a season to go. Just a little bit, put out a little bit. When the birds and the insects put on a show. Give up a little bit. As the heat goes up,
find good things in people.
As the fire gets hot all around.
person.
to feel the need to pollinate.
All day, things have been going better for Joe. Still smiling and talking to people, finding good things about people and telling them about the good things. Going home isn't going to be lonely this time.
When the morning comes and no one's around, the sun struts in blinding but without a sound. My friends and I laugh as we sit in the dark and watch the hills blossom near Central Park. And as the heat goes up, the cares go down. As the fire gets hot all around the town. Summer's here to start, but it's not too late to feel the need to pollinate.
Mother thinks that's a good idea.
It's the sign of the season to pollinate. You know you never need a reason to pollinate. It's the sign of the season to pollinate. You know you never need a reason to go.
We were born to bring it back, but it's more than basic. It's a portion of his rap, but the core is ancient. It's supported like a pack of some more observations are important, like the fact that we're bored of fake shit. More creative, have the floor, so take it. Travel to the tour is a normal placement. Tattoos on my arm and a form of faith. Yet I battle with the thought of my morals vacant. Turns out, don't confuse it with a turn up. Ain't a veggie I can see unless you count the burnt blunts. Burn up, I can do this Ric Flair stuff. You can see the turned up.
Hello, I am the Ronan Paul. Welcome back to a twitch.tv/Ronan Paul live stream on twitch.tv/Ronan Paul. And this is Sam? Is that you, Sam? I got three of them. Two of them look a lot alike. Three kittens, two cats. Sam and Tammy look a lot alike, but this is Sam. Sam's actually the shyest of them. Yeah. Is that you, Sam? Yeah, that's Sam. First up close and personal with one of the kittens. Shut up. You interrupted me. Yeah, not too easy to get a hold of during a live stream, but she wandered in, so welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Messed everything up. He Wrigley. She Wrigley. And she wasn't that Wrigley. She was actually pretty tame for her wriggles, if I was right. Pretty sure that was Samantha. Sam. Oh, that's why you said he. Sam, because we named them all based on our guesses of their genders. We only thought one of them was a girl. And it turned out all of them were girls. So, Sam, because it's easy for that to go both ways. Jermacian Cheering 5 Pawn, Dr. Evil, I hold the world hostage for $1 million. There's a lot of people who would say $1 million isn't a lot of money. Fuck those people. $1 million. And if you... Now that's Tammy. Wait. Look me in the eye. Look me in the eye. That's Tammy. That's Tammy Two Eyes. Yeah, that's who. It wasn't Sam. It was Tammy the whole time. Tammy Two Eyes. She got two different eyes. She's got two eyes. That's why we call her Tammy Two Eyes. She got two differently colored eyes. A lot of people think $1 million isn't a lot of money. Fuck those people, number one. Number two, if you got $1 million, hey, I did some math. I did on the 2020 census and found out that for 11, well, it's 12, somewhere between $10,000 and $12,000, 12 at the maximum per year, from you as a millionaire and all the other millionaires, the over 20 million millionaires we have in this country, we could negate poverty for the 38 million people living in poverty. 12 grand from the millionaires each year. No more poverty in America. Bring everybody up above the poverty line. We'll just have a lower class, and then we'll get around to getting the money from you for the fucking lower class too. But ain't that an idea? 12 grand, 38 million people in poverty suddenly come up to the lower class level. Got all those people who have opportunity now as the economy starts kicking off again like it used to once did, maybe kind of a deal. Every year that you run the program, it costs less to run it the next year because, people do better. People in poverty have it's real hard to get out. Once you get them into the lower class, it's a lot easier to stay in the lower class, especially when there's no such state as poverty in America anymore. There's no way to be poverty level because we just eliminate it. Also, if you millionaires are just so not Christian and don't give a fuck about anybody, that you can't be willing to, part with $12,000 to eliminate poverty. If you can't go down to $988,000, that would be, I can't lose that digit. If that's where you're coming from, then fuck it. We can just take it from the military. Let the military have $500 billion per year, $500 billion they can spend, and we'll take the extra that they spend every year, which is about $750 billion, and we'll fund it with that, because that's all you need, $250 billion. No more poverty in the United States of America. Huh? Yeah. No, really. Mm-hmm. And then, it's even a conversation that could be had at that point, because if we are just giving people the money that they need and now they're all in lower class and nobody's poverty and all that kind of thing, we could have that conversation with Republicans about, hey, if we just give the money to raise everybody up to this level, then, those programs that y'all like to bitch about that, barely functioning because of what you did, because of how you fucking, at least, the politicians, the conservative politicians, the Republican politicians, because you undermine those systems and they barely function and they barely work and it's flaming hoops for everybody to jump through. We can knock off a whole bunch of those probably. Or at least scale them back to where most people won't, need a food stamp program if you're just giving them all of the money that they need to be lower class instead of poverty level. And we can do it for it's going to be less than, but my maximum, I was big in the figures, 3.7% of what the U.S. spends every year. Just 3.7%, and the United States has no more poverty anymore. That's a thing we could do, and we don't. I wonder why. I don't know. What would I do with a cool mill? Pay my bills. Number one, pay my bills. Number two, finish fixing the house up, get some guys in here to, put the paint and the trim on. I did all the bone work myself and everything, but we get this house up nice, looking good. Just get my feet underneath me. I've been making what I write on my tax form at the end of the day after claiming just about everything and probably some stuff that I legally can't, but they're never going to check on me. Why aren't they going to check on me? Because my gross is less than 10 grand a year. What I report on my line 12, my net or whatever after deductions is after costs and expenses of running this business like I do, it's like $4,000 to $6,000 is what I end up putting on my tax form, which is good in one way and bad in another. It's good in the way that if I do need help, I point at my tax forms and say, maybe give me, and they're like, all right, I guess we just got to give it to you. The bad thing is that I have an incredibly good credit score. Based on the fact that I do manage my money well and I do work my credit lines and I make sure that everybody gets paid what I took and all that kind of a thing. 20, 30 years, 50 years, 172 years is what I've got of, good credit score. it doesn't matter what your credit score is when somebody asks you, what do you put on your line 12? You have to say like 5-6 grand. No, but nobody's going to give you a loan. With my investment account, a cool $1 million would pay for half my shit on a monthly basis. Probably haven't done the math, but more makes mo money. Nice to see your ugly face again. Hello, Xenon G. I lost my Twitch password and just remembered yesterday. Well, you can watch even if you're not logged in, you know. Or can you? Because, I mean, Twitter is making it hard. Facebook's a son of a... I don't do anything with Facebook, because fuck those guys. But, good. Nice to have you here, Xenon G. Amish says, but pawn, then people won't agree to work for desperation wages under hostile management. However, will the self-styled neo-feudalists find serfs under such a system? Won't someone think of the ownership class? Yes, well, they'll find it where they've been finding it, where, you know, M&M's and Hershey's have been finding it in child slave labor in through third-party contractors in third world countries. There's always a third involved. Have you noticed? Whenever they're doing something that's, you know, absolutely horrible, there's always a third somewhere in there. A third party, a third this, a third that, you know. Managed to, like, escape from the legal system and all of its penalties and all of its regulations just by saying, well, we didn't do it technically. We hired someone to do it for us. You know what I found out recently? Watching a video on the Gravel Institute. They didn't say this in there, but I did some deduction. Video by the Gravel Institute, which is the YouTube answer back from the more bread tube end of things, the socialists minded, the leftists, as we call ourselves. I don't know if I want to be called leftist, but I definitely fall probably further left than most people who want to call themselves leftists. They did a video. They're the answer back to PragerU. So there's Gravel Institute. If you haven't checked it out and you know about PragerU, PragerU is, you know, it's lies being disseminated by billionaires via YouTube, and they call themselves PragerU to insinuate that there's a university involved, or that these people have any credentials or are smarter or should be talking about what they're talking about. None of the people who are talking about any of the things on there are smart or should be talking about what they're talking about, which is why they're always, like, demonstrably wrong about everything that they say. They just state things and they put animated graphs that are like cartoons. They're not even graphs on screen. And those graphs mean nothing. They have no X or Y coordinate. There is no source. It's just them saying something, and then they drew something to pretend as though there was merit to it. So Gravel Institute is the answer back to that. Check them out on YouTube. They did a video recently about a guy from Michigan, from Dearborn, in fact, so near me, who worked in his family's pizza shop and was a pizza delivery guy around here and stuff. And the FBI, the name of the video is the FBI. Let's see, I was a lonely pizza delivery guy, and then the FBI catfished me. In the story, he's a Muslim man who doesn't sound Muslim, doesn't look too Muslim, any of those things, but they were following. The FBI was tracking him because of things that they knew that he watched and talked about on Twitter and stuff like that. And so they basically just, what's that called? My brain is having a short circuit here. It's entrapment. They entrapped him by inventing these women. They didn't invent the women. This is the interesting part. This is why I wanted to talk about it. I'm getting to my point. It's just going to take me an hour and a half, as usual. The FBI had these women contact him and basically encourage him to become a terrorist. The people who were representing the FBI kept trying to, like, shove him toward acts of terrorism. You know, telling him that like, at one point, and he's forming relationships with these women, thinking that they're going somewhere, maybe he's in love, you know, that kind of a thing, but it's all internet and phone and that kind of stuff, never gets to meet or see them. And they're, they just keep bringing back everything. At one point, he, like, confesses to one of them that he's been having thoughts of suicide, and she like, tries to talk him down from his thoughts of suicide, while saying, constantly pushing him back toward the idea that the only time when suicide is okay for us is when it is a terrorist action, when it is jihad. Like, they were trying to get this guy to become a terrorist as though they acquire a certain amount of funding by finding terrorists and they need to, like, put another one on the chalkboard or nobody's going to give them money for it this year. Trying to manufacture this guy into a terrorist, couldn't, but eventually picked him up anyway on a gun charge because he happened to own a gun that he was not allowed, that he didn't have, like, registered or licensed, which he argued he had because he was a pizza delivery guy in the city of Detroit, and after being mugged and robbed and jumped and, beaten and stuff, delivering pizzas to Detroit multiple times, he said, I'm gonna get a fucking gun. But so he had a federal charge for having a gun that he wasn't supposed to have. Usually that would be about 10 months, but because the FBI had dumped so much money into trying to turn the man into a terrorist without him ever, becoming a terrorist, they managed to get him a sentence of like 38, 40 months, something like over 3 years in prison on a charge that usually wouldn't even be a year long, and with good behavior from 10 months would have been knocked down to 5 or something like that. Yeah. So that's the story, and what I deduced from this is why we got off on this and why, how I connect it back, is that the FBI now operates the same way that Mars and Hershey and Nike do, which is that, they run their slave labor camps, literal, modern day, 2022, slave labor, in third world countries, seeking the most desperate people that they can possibly find. And if they can't find them, they'll just make them, as we found out with Mars and Hershey's, the makers of some of your favorite chocolates. Their chocolate comes from children who have been stolen from their families with armed guards, men with guns, on the outskirts of the little camp where they're taken away to, whisked away, forced to process cocoa with alkaline, and that sort of a thing. Turns out the FBI runs pretty much the same way. Which is that where Mars and Hershey and Nike, who was running an operation, I'm sure you all remember this, where they had a third-party, agency whom they hired through. That third-party agency targeted specifically migrant workers into, I think it was Vietnam, or one of the countries surrounding. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. It might have been Malaysia, but yeah, it's probably Malaysia. But targeted migrant workers, so people who came into the country to work. And so what they did was they hired those people because those people had to have visas and green cards. And then what they did is said, we're going to need your visa and your green card to make a copy of it so that you can work here. And they said, okay, here it is. And then they never gave those documents back, which means that their migrant workforce is now slavery because they cannot leave the country. They don't have their visa anymore. They can't get a job with anyone else in the country they're in because Nike has their green card. But not Nike. It's their third-party contractor. You see the third-party thing. Apparently, the FBI runs its operation the same these days. In that, clearly the FBI couldn't, have actual agents of their own doing this kind of catfish entrapment. Definitely fucking catfish and definitely fucking entrapment. That's the important thing. So what they do is they get a third-party contractor, is how I have to, they call it informant when they walk into court. These are our informants. These women were informants for us. But these women are clearly, doing this as a job, trying to drive people toward terrorism, trying to manufacture people who they can turn over to the FBI. And my immediate thought was, does the FBI pay them out in a lump sum when they, turn somebody in who they can actually prosecute? Or do they pay them like a regular monthly stipend on their informants thing? One way or another, these people are definitely third-party contractors whom, because the FBI, it would be illegal for them to try and push people into terrorism so that they could then catch them. They can't do that. So they hire somebody else to do that. which apparently is legal. And I'm just thinking maybe the concept of the law is useless in 2022. You know, that just at this state in humanity, the law is just bullshit. Like, it's always been something that we imagine, and then we apply the rules, and then we try to live up to a standard. But at this point, I think we're a lot closer to the darkest ages of the law, where it was just, you know, a means for a king to apply, you know, punishments upon his serfs, as the Amish Stig brought up earlier. Yeah. Because, I mean, at this point, it's like, if the FBI can hire people, but not hire them because they're third-party contractors, so they're not on the payroll, which means they don't work for us, which means they can break all of the laws that we're not allowed to, or they can do things that would be, if we did it, we'd be breaking the law, but they work for us, but they don't work for us. If they can do that, CIA can do anything, NSA can do anything, I can do anything, Google can do anything. Like, the law doesn't matter. So long as you find somebody else to do the thing, then you have no ultimate responsibility. And so every law, every chain of jurisprudence, every chain of culpability, of responsibility, of I can't remember my legal lingual all of the things that allow the law to operate have been defeated by apparently the law deciding to acknowledge this idea that if a third party, you were just hired a third party, well, then you have no culpability or responsibility and can't be held accountable for the actions of the people who you were employing while they were doing the thing on your behalf. I mean, all we need is one step back, you know, to where it's like, well, that person just worked for us. They were just an employee. They may have said that. They may have done that. They may have been wearing our and under our, and we told them in our contracts, we tell them to do that. But they just worked for us. It's not us, so you can't hold us responsible. Basically, it's a nightmare. The world is a nightmare. The world is a vampire sent to drain. Communism has entered chat. Would think they'd be more interested in a 3/5 world country instead of a 1/3. It's harder to come by, you know, the metric. I bet the Second Amendment guys stood in line to defend that guy. Gun ownership, well, Brown, a crime so heinous it's only time right-wingers hate the Second Amendment. It's the only time. Wow. That was a hard sentence to break down, the Amish Stig, but it wasn't. Like, it did just process for me, but it seems like it should have been. Bad faith actors, the reason why regulation is necessary in the first place. And then, you know, we undermine the regulation, we strip the regulation, and then whatever regulation is left, the fucking Republicans just make sure that there's no funding for it and say, you need to have your tax dollar. Federal government doesn't do jack shit. Look at how bad these systems work since we've been undermining them for, you know, the past 100 years, since they were here. Look at how these systems don't work anyway when we keep bashing their fucking knees in by taking all their money away. See? Why the Fed doesn't do shit for you. They're just stealing your tax dollars to do nothing. And then what regulation does exist doesn't have the funding to actually do what it's supposed to do. The FDA, the FCC, like they don't. It's all a wait until there's a problem so big it can no longer be denied system, because they don't have the funding to track things down. You know, the IRS can't even fucking do their you know, where they come and make you pull out all the books and everything, their audits. You know, the world is a shithole. Did I mention? Are we gonna play Kerbal anymore today? I'd prefer not to. It's almost as if you can't get good governance from someone who runs on a platform of the government is incompetent. Elect me and I'll make sure of it. Yeah, it's almost like, you know, it frustrates the fuck out of me that, like, that our world, our perspective, our, you know, so much of our, it's absolutely fair and reasonable and right that you should see that your government is not representative of you at this point, absolutely. But to take the bad actors, the bad faith of these two corrupt parties and the individuals who run on them, and the individuals who these senators and House, representatives, and your local mayors and things like these people are, by and large, 99%. They're all taking like copious amounts of money from the very people whom they are supposed to protect you from. Your government, you need to come at this from the idea that this is my government. This is of, by, and for the people. And the problem isn't that the government doesn't work. The problem is people with money who aren't you, who don't need a voice at the governmental level because they have money, they have power, they have influence, they can self-represent just fucking fine. You, on the ground as an individual citizen in the United States of America, have all of the push and the pull and the force and the influence on the CEO's boardroom, on the regulations in the country, on foreign governments, on whether wars are going to happen, of a gnat pushing on a fucking elephant's balls and thinking that something's going to swing. You have no authority whatsoever until you and your neighbor, and then your neighbor, and then your neighbor, and your neighbor's neighbors, and your neighbor's 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 neighbors, all the way across the country from the Pacific to the Atlantic, come together and say, we are going to vest all of our individual power into a government. And what little power we have, we give it to these people. And we give it to them in the most substantive way, in the form of our fucking money. In the form of taxation, in the form of funding our government to do the things that will benefit us. And then our government is supposed to take that money and sit down, walk into those CEO boardrooms that none of us could possibly enter, walk into those tables where the important decisions are being made, including whether or not they're going to put a fucking nuclear power plant in your backyard or somebody else's backyard. They now have the authority based on the power, based on the money that they have to operate on you, and based on the law when the law functions, if we could get it back to being worth anything. But it is your country, and the moment that you stop thinking of it that way and start thinking about it just being something that's in your way and needs to be torn down, you better real quick find your way into that upper 5% of America. Because if you're in the 95 percentile of America and you rip the government away, you rip your own representation away. You cut your own fucking legs off. So quick, get into the 5% so that you can fuck the 95%, because that's the only thing that you can hope to be doing if you want to tear down a government and tear down an American, a democratic, any government, is to be stripping the people who don't have power of what power they might have through representational democracy, which we do not have currently in the United States of America. And so it's fair enough to see that and be like, what are we even fucking doing? What are we even paying for and everything like that? But it is not well, I guess we just throw it all away. You throw it all away and you end up in a fucking Blade Runner universe. You end up in, like the corporations are going to run the fucking world if we don't catch this thing before it gets too far spiraling out of control. And when I say the corporations, you might, oh, well, what's so bad about corporations? I'm talking about Nike and Mars and Hershey. I'm talking about the slave labor running motherfuckers. I'm talking about Comcast and AT&T and Viacom, who put so much money into the American government that they have undermined that they are traitors unto the United States of America. They should be prosecuted for treason. These companies should be broken up. In a way that doesn't allow them to be at all what they were, and punishes everybody, and people go to jail and shit because they have pumped so much money into the government. They have positioned their people as though they are spies, so that people who 3 years before they, wound up running the FCC used to work for fucking Comcast or AT&T or, Viacom or something like that, used to work for Verizon, which I believe was Ajit Pai. Ajit Pai, I believe, worked for Verizon months before he became the chairman of the FCC, and his role at Verizon was to defeat the regulations of the FCC on behalf of Verizon. Gee, that's a person. And then he gets in, and what do you know? The internet gets deregulated. Well, the American people being polled at the time that they deregulated, just before they ran a poll. They don't have to abide by the results. They run the poll. The by of far away huge gap of the support of the American people to continue regulating the internet so that it doesn't turn into a hellscape. So, yeah, when you seat people in power who are against the interests of the American people and then use the offices of power of the American people against the American people's interests, that is collusion, that is conspiracy against the people of the United States of America, and that is fucking treason, and we need some people in goddamn prison, and I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of them hanging from some trees in front of the White House, to be quite frank. Like, but, you know, you can't... You can't help, you can't reform, you can't get anything done if you don't, at a fundamental level, still believe that this nation, that this government is your government. Even if it, you know, came to a point where you're like, well, it's completely gone, it's completely unsalvageable, we need to rip this whole government out, it's time for revolution, it's time for warfare in the streets, all that kind of shit. You still have to be coming from the place of, that's our government and they stole it and we're going to go get it back. Because we need a fucking government. We need people to represent the interests of those of us, which is 95% of us, who cannot represent our own interests against powers and principalities that are global in scale, that are American companies only in name. Most of them aren't even in name American companies anymore because they found a way to run the taxes through somewhere else. So now they're, you know, Barbados companies when you get right down to it. They have no national allegiance. They have no concern about what's going on Main Street, USA. Walmart came in and destroyed the whole small business. So the backbone of our economy, small businesses. Walmart, Target, Kroger, like these companies came in and they consolidated power and they consolidated interests and they cut prices and they put everybody else out of business. And they did so using the slave labor and third fucking world countries from employees who they get through third-party contractors, and then in fucking America, Walmart takes out goddamn life insurance policies on their own employees, knowing that a certain percentage of their employees will die each year, and if they take out these life insurance policies, it will be a profit for them. People working at Walmart whose families don't have life insurance policies on them, they died, they lost a family member, they didn't know what they were going to do, they had to pay for burying them, they had to find a new source of income, all of those things. Meanwhile, Walmart is walking out the fucking door with a life insurance policy that they cashed in on your dad because your dad worked at Walmart. That's a thing that happened. These are the corporations I'm talking about. These are the powers and principalities who would just as soon seen you fucking melt in a nuclear holocaust if it would make them 3 cents more profit per fucking unit. They don't care. They look at it in the sense of if we don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. If we don't drop nukes on these people, if we don't let these people fucking melt in toxic rivers that we create, somebody else is going to do it, and then they're going to get the price down low, and then everybody's going to go for that, and then, you know, somebody's going to do it sooner or later. If it can be done, it has to be done in capitalism, and so we might as well do it, and we're not responsible for it because it was just going to be the ultimate eventuality. But also, you can't possibly regulate us. Like, they have that justification where it's like, if it can be done, it must be done, and we are not responsible because capitalism demands it. It's just the rules of the market. At which point the appropriate response will be, sounds like capitalism needs to be regulated, right? And then they all have to shout, no, of course not. And they have to shout that because it is in capitalism's interest to create monopolies and destroy human lives. At which point you say, well, maybe capitalism is a bad idea, and then they all have to shout, no, of course it's not. Because it's in their best interest to try and paint a world in which capitalism is not a horrible thing that is destroying everyone, because they are the capitalists and they are making the money off of it, and if they weren't doing it, somebody else would do it, and say, ah! And it's just a circular fucking logic, eating its own tail down into the pits of fucking hell, passing through the anus of fucking Lucifer himself, going, if somebody would have had to be here! Ronan Palm, would you ever stand for an elected office? Would I seek an elected office or allow an elected office to be hung around me? Perhaps. But I don't have like the interest in playing the fucking game. We don't need people who play games. We have so many people playing games. We have so many people talking in circles, saying things, doing nothing. Which I say that, and then I think of Obama. Motherfucker just said, oh, we're going to fix healthcare. Change on the campaign trail. I said, what are you going to do with the change? What's the healthcare? You're talking about healthcare all the time. Tell me what your plan is. I want to hear it. We've all got a lot of plans out here. We talk about universal single payer. We talk about this, that, the other thing. Lots of different ways that we could fix healthcare. What's yours? He refuses to say anything, gets elected on the platform of change, specifically change of healthcare. And then what does he do? He turns healthcare into the same shit that we've got in America with auto insurance, where you are forced to buy it. Now, except for with auto insurance, it's only if you want to have a car, which is kind of a necessity for most people, but at least technically you could claim that it's your choice whether or not to own a car. And if you own a car, then you have to have auto insurance. Let's just do that for life insurance. Let's take the very motherfuckers who made us all so angry that the nation was like, and we're still there. We're still fucking there. Amazingly, we still have that fucking energy to be like, healthcare, when are we going to fucking fix it? Let's take all that energy. Let's take all that public goodwill that's behind it, that wants to see change, and let's make a rule that says you have to pay the very same private insurer motherfuckers who made the situation so bad, who have fucked us all over so much, who have driven so many people into debt, who have risen the cost of fucking insulin to the to the point where you can you could fly to Canada, buy a case of insulin, fly back, and it will cost less than if you had to just buy a case of insulin in the United States of America, where an MRI is, they bill for fucking however many tens of thousands of dollars. That asshole. Like, we don't need any more fucking players. We don't need people who are out there telling us about, I saw on the other day Twitter, sent down, hey, you're in Michigan, here's your governor saying something about something. And, it was actually a video. Was it a video or was it an article I read? There was an issue at hand, okay? There was something that was the issue of, that was the topic of this thing. Every time that my governor spoke, she talked about jobs, how many jobs we've made and how many jobs America has, and the jobs that we're in. I'm working hard to make the jobs. We worked so hard to get the jobs. We can't let this happen because then that's going to undermine, the jobs. The thing that she was talking about had nothing in particular to do with jobs. Every time she opened her fucking mouth, it was a campaign trail, a reinforcement of her politics, of her position. She's selling herself constantly. We're asking you about this, and you've got to try and talk about it in terms of, well, I've done so much good work trying to build jobs in here. I'd be concerned that this might undermine jobs. We don't need fucking fake ass people anymore. Talking about jobs and talking about, What's their other big fucking pitch? I mean, you've also got the small businesses backbone, which it isn't. That backbone was broken so fucking long ago. But they run on two things, It's two really gross, wide bullshit ideas, and then they remind you all the time of their really wide, gross bullshit ideas without ever getting into the specifics of how this is good for you or what this benefits. We don't need any more bullshit. And so the idea of getting involved in politics is, at this point, if you're not going to play with the bullshit, then you don't have a chance in politics. So don't get involved. Or you've got to just completely build a whole nother fucking movement, something that's completely removed from everything while you're fighting the billions of dollars that's in there. It's an uphill fucking battle. And I don't have the energy for it. I got a disease that saps energy from me. I don't feel like I want to do it. Politics on easy mode, running against the mess you've created yourself. Hand out welfare applications in the onboarding packets? Hello. Good afternoon. How are you today? Hello, Naslik. I'm just flying this Kerbal space program live stream just straight into the ground. Bill for my last CT was about $9,000, and because it's balkanized to hell, and hell and back, that was just for 90 seconds in the machine, not for the operator or the doctor who interpreted the results or the hospital the machine was in or the technician that operated the machine. Can I suggest that perhaps medical treatment is not, never was, and should not now be considered by any human being an industry? It is not now, nor was it ever an industry. It's care. It's people making sure other people don't die, mostly because they've had people that they care about die, and they thought that was kind of a shitty experience. Can I just suggest that maybe anyone who profits off of medicine is a devil-worshipping fucker? How about, I'm looking for some new words. I've already used so many. How about devil-worshipping fucker? Does that? This is not. If you want to make a profit, here's my thought. Bubble gum, soda pop. There's little, like, you can sell little trinkets. There's lots of shit at the counter. There's all kinds of industries that you could get into where it's like, these are completely non-necessity items. If you want to just try and scam people into buying something that's not worth that amount for tens of thousands of times what it's really worth, we'll all be a lot happier if it's bubblegum and soda pop. Feel free. If you can get somebody to pay you fucking $20 for a pack of bubblegum because your marketing campaign's so good, feel fucking free. If you are making drugs, if you are, selling medical equipment, this is not meant for you to make a profit off of. This is not meant for you to have investors. This is not meant for you to prove a quarterly increase in your. This is not an industry. It's a public service. And the people who work in it should be remunerated fairly and valued highly. But the people who actually get the money are not those people. The people who do the most, it's the fucking insurance companies is what it is. I'm from Norway and I've paid $60 for 2 MRIs, says Rip the Jar. Yep. I looked it up because I was so mad about it. If I had no insurance, it would have been cheaper for me to fly to Germany, get the scan there, spend a week as a tourist, and then fly back. As it is, it cost me $2,400. And the way that this is encouraged, like this, what I perceive as doctors not being doctors anymore, being encouraged to be less, doctory than they used to be. I don't really go to doctors. When I have gone to doctors, what I have seen is people who are running their practices like it's a McDonald's fucking drive-through. They have no time. They're trying to move in, move out, get the gist. I just need the just the gist. I don't have time to, I can't get deep into, you got that going on. But in addition, I feel like a doctor won't do anything at this point until they've racked up like $12,000 worth of tests. And I don't think it's because of the money. I think it's because of lawsuits. But I think there's also the money. But just the fact that, like, the idea that doctors don't really practice as doctors anymore, like, going in and it's flu season and you got flu-like symptoms and it's like, all right, well, let's treat you for the flu. And, that's what you do. But I feel like more often than not now, if you go into your, general practitioner and you got flu-like symptoms in flu season, then we're going to do some blood work. We're going to take some tests. We're going to do some, I'm sure it's the flu. It's just the flu. No problem. But just to confirm that, we're going to rack up $26,000 worth of fucking treatment over here. It's not an industry. Stop. It's not a commercial And then the people who want to defend it are like, because it's a commercial industry, because there's so much profit to be made, that's why we've got all of the cures that we have, and why the medicines are out there, why the devices are out there, and why America has the greatest health care. And then you point out to them, we have the worst. It's not the worst. We are like 36th in the world. We do not have the best anything. We pay more for less. That is the short of it. The short of it is that America pays way fucking more than everybody else does and gets less. That American lifespan, average lifespan, is lower than that of like people in Namibia or something now. We do not have any of those things that they always say that we have. And they say that we have them because if we didn't have them, then obviously this would be fucked up, right? It would be so obvious that the system that we have doesn't work, that it needs to be torn down, that we need to stop doing things the way we did, if we didn't actually have, like, you know, maybe the treatment costs a lot, but it's the best treatment you can get. But the thing is, the thing that they're not telling you is that they're lying, that we don't have the best treatment you can get, that most Americans die before they need to, that that's not true. So when you take that away, when you realize that's not true, then we're just back to, oh, clearly this doesn't work. We need to do this another way. We can't possibly allow these insurers to rape the American people and rape just the entire medical system and turn it into a capitalist for-profit fucking industry. It's not an industry. It's medicine. Because the comment was so old, it needs context. Walmart was caught putting welfare applications in the welcome to your new job at Walmart packets. Really? Welcome to your new job. You're going to need some extra support from the government. All right, get ready for your shift. Welcome to your new job. If we worked you any more of these hours, then we would have to actually treat you as an employee and provide you with benefits and time off, health care, and shit like that. So we're not going to work you that long. We're going to work everybody just a minute underneath that line where we'd have to actually treat you like an employee. You know, where you'd have rights and shit. Which means you're also not going to get enough hours to survive at this low-paying job, which means here's your welfare application. That's a fun thing. I never heard about that one. It's also the insurance. That CT, my doctor had to spend an hour and a half arguing with the insurance company that the scan was warranted because apparently, hey doc, I'm shitting blood doesn't warrant diagnostic testing that is able to find internal bleeding. And really, if you think about it, the actual doctor, 8 to 10 years in various forms of medical school and medical training, who's standing before you right then, listening in the room, able to like palpate, and that's right there, his opinion is really only worth about the same as somebody on a phone in Wyoming in a center where they're employed specifically just to try and undermine what the doctor wants to do that would cost money. Really, the medical opinion is pretty much even there when you think about it. The actual doctor who's there, who's treating you, may have been treating you for years, decades, that sort of a thing, versus dude on phone represents insurance company. Yeah, that's yep. I mean, we've got laws about people who aren't doctors being able to say certain things in certain situations, right? You know, you can't go on and be like, I'm a doctor and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, when you work for the insurance company, it doesn't matter whether you're in the room, whether you've seen the patient, you've read some files that were sent over. I don't think, well, let's try the generic. U.S. is beyond belief on a lot of things, but the healthcare system is in a league of its own. But we've got to, but where we started with this, where I started with this rant, was that it is important, even in these times, that the American people never stop thinking of this as their government. That it is your government, that it is meant to be of, by, and for the people, and if it is not, then changes need to be made, and whatever needs to happen to make those changes is whatever needs to happen to make those changes, you know what I mean? Winks as good as a nod to a blind bat. Like, wherever it has to go, but the moment that you start thinking of the government as being a force against you, like, it is a force against you, but it's got to be in the proper context. It's that someone has stolen your government and is driving it at your house. It's someone has stolen something that is yours and is abusing it and misusing it, and it's time to take it back. Not that we need to get rid of this government. All governments are corrupt. All governments do. Like, yeah, there's all governments are corrupt because there are people who are corrupt. There's always going to be some amount of corruption in government. But if you care, and if you apply force and pressure, and if you work hard, the idea here is to form a government that is representational of the people. It's a premise that, this country's been doing for a couple of hundred years, that it was founded on, and all of those things. The fact that it is where it is today is very much by design of the people in power who were defeated by our government, who found, just like 60 years ago, 70 years ago, the taxation rate on rich people in this country was 91%. The average income of like the upper class in America was, and this is adjusted for today's, income, was like 300 and something thousand. It was, I think, nearer to 400 grand. Adjusted for today's income, that was the rich class, 400 grand. 91%, and that the idea there was that it was 91%, but there's always been tax write-offs and things like that, and loopholes. Clever accountant can figure things out. The rich used to pay about 60% of their income after whatever write-offs they got down from that 91% kind of thing, about 60% of the income, and the richest class averaged around $370, I think, $1,000 per year. Today, we have 20 million millionaires, 38 million people making less than $12,000 per year, $13,000 per year. So, just live on $1,000 a month. That's easy to do, right? I mean, so number one, get yourself an apartment. There's like 700. Oh, shit. I have to eat, get to and from a job. Like, I have to have a car because there's no fucking public transit over here. If I get sick, the healthcare industry does. $750 for like a shitty apartment. That's basically where it stands these days. You can find a place. You look hard, you can find like a studio in a place nobody wants to live for $450 a month. Sure can. But across this great nation of ours, average starting place for housing, the low end of housing, $750. And 38% of this country is at the poverty line, below the poverty line, which is, in 2020, was $12,800 and something a year. I am well in the poverty. I've been in poverty since before I can remember. Except for that 1 year where I made that $26,000 kind of thing. No, since becoming a YouTuber, I've never had a year where I wasn't probably technically poverty. And to be perfectly honest with you, Lady Pawn and I have been like putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. We're going to be signing up for, whatever they want to call it these days, what I'll never stop just calling food stamps. We're going to sign up for food stamps. I haven't taken money from any like social programs while I've been in poverty, and I'm gonna start now because fuck them. Because at this point, like, it really is. I'm advocating for everyone who's in poverty could just be lifted out of it. You take whatever their income is and put the extra that they need in order to break that $12,800 a year number on it. There's no more poverty anymore. If the best thing that we've got going right now is, giving people food coupons and saying, well, you can't buy that with it, then fuck it, give it to me. Because it's mine now. I've been trying to put into the system and not take out. I pay my taxes every year. I end up paying the federal government on my incredibly low income just under $400 a year. I pay the federal government. And then what tends to happen is that the state government then gives me like 300 and something. So sometimes it turns into a net gain. I think I've had one year where it's like, I made $8. The federal government charged me $320 this year, and then the state government gave me $328. Which is ridiculous in and of itself, that I've got these different sources that I got to pay for these different things. And then you see so clearly when you're in that poverty position and you're paying your taxes, and I'm paying the taxes on this house and everything. I'm giving you guys the money because I don't pay into the system up front. So I actually have to pay it. I'm never getting a refund. So I'm paying into the federal government, and then the state has to give me money because I make so little money. They're like, here, we're gonna, and by that, when I say give me money, what I mean is they pay my heat bill, they pay my energy bill. They just send a check to DTE, and that, in addition to, maybe I do get like a small check of like $80. It's just fucking weird, isn't it? Why are we doing this circle jerk bullshit? I pay the federal government and then the state gives me money because I don't have enough to survive. And it's like, so the state can see that at my income level, I'm so deeply in poverty, I must need help. Here's some money. I don't have to ask them for it. I just file my taxes and it comes. The state sees that. Federal government still wants my fucking $400 a year. I'm in poverty. I file my taxes as someone in poverty. They still want my $400. That seems broken, doesn't it? Like, and why should the burden of lifting people out of poverty or making up for this poverty gap be put upon the state because of the federal government taking money out of your pocket over here? Like, if the federal government didn't take any money from me, then the state could just as well keep its money, couldn't it? I'd be in the exact same position if the federal government just acknowledged, if you're making less than 10 grand a year, if you are in poverty, then no, you don't have to pay us anything. You'd think there would be a lower cutoff on that, wouldn't you, in the United States of America? That there'd be a certain level where you file how much money you made and there's no taxes, right? Surely there's a bottom line where it's like, all right, don't worry about it, man. Get back to us when you're doing okay. There isn't, apparently. When you're a self-employed individual such as myself, and I'm working for another employer, I'm just running these live streams, you guys cheer and donate and stuff like that, running the YouTube channel, that sort of a thing. When you do this, when you've got a self-employed and in self-employing, you don't make enough money, they still want your fucking money. They still want poverty. They want money out of the pockets of people living in poverty who are trying to run their own businesses. It's how did we get here? Who designed this system? Makes me think back to that. See, you can totally live on a McDonald's wage budget they did. They had something like $40 a month for healthcare, $0 a month for heating, cooling, and still required a second full-time job. See? You could survive on McDonald's. You just have to work somewhere else too, full-time. So 80 hours, I was on the system as a kid. Way I see it, my countrymen were there when my family couldn't provide for me. I'm there for them because they need me now, and I trust they'll be there for me if I ever need it again. And let's not forget that fossil fuel industry gets what, $600 billion a year in subsidies? Yeah, the subsidizing of all these different industries are taking the American, so in a very roundabout sense, they're taking $400 out of the pockets of me living on 6 Mile in Detroit in poverty, so that they can pay U.S. cotton farmers to grow cotton at a price, and so that they sell the U.S. cotton at a price that is actually less than it costs to make the cotton because it's been subsidized by the American dollar. Which would beg the question, what the fuck is that about? Why? Why is that beneficial? Why is it beneficial to grow cotton and then sell it at a price that's less than what it costs to grow it, and then you take the money from the people and then you put it, and then it's, and then other countries that want to grow cotton, they can't grow cotton. Like, their farmers don't get to grow any cotton because it's cheaper to buy American cotton because we sell it for less than what cotton costs to grow, and we can actually ship it across the fucking world. We can ship our cotton to China, and it's cheaper than if China grows cotton. It's cheaper than if anyone in South America grows cotton. It's like, are we just fucking with the numbers? Is that what this is? Is this like just all an image thing? We just want to be able to say, well, our domestic product, our exports are really way up, and all we had to do was put, more money than the $250 billion it would cost to lift every person in the United States out of poverty. We put more than that money into subsidizing these various industries in order to make it look like our exports are up, because they are, because we paid for part of the product out of our own fucking pockets before we sent it. It's just ridiculous, the whole fucking thing. The zero tax line should be at least 3 times what it is. Is there a zero tax line? Because I've never fucking hit it. Fuck having the line at poverty wages. If you're not making a living wage, you're not making enough to be contributing to the well-being of those who are struggling. I mean, that's, and then you could get into, it branches off. Like if we just did this, it's probably like between $200 and $240 billion that would be required to end poverty in the United States of America. Then once you did that, what you'd have is people, a lot of it, 38% of the people who used to be below poverty line, at the poverty line, just above it. And then you can have a whole nother conversation that isn't just using the math to eliminate poverty mathematically. You can have a whole nother conversation about whether or not a person can survive on $12,800 a year. It's a completely different thing, isn't it? Especially since the U.S. poverty line, here's a fun factoid you probably didn't know. The U.S. poverty line is determined, and has been determined for the past 59 years, I guess. It's determined each year by a very special mathematic principle, which is in 1963, someone, somewhere, somehow, came up with a number of what it should cost to feed a single human being for a month a healthy, balanced, nutritious diet. In 1963, the cost of what your groceries, minimum groceries would be per month. You take that number and then you push it through this very complex algorithmic formula, which is you multiply it by 3. And then that's the 1963 figure, okay? Then you just inflation to today. That's what the poverty line is in America. It's not based on cost of housing, cost of healthcare, rising costs of this, that, the other thing. It's not based on inflation. It's not based on the growing needs, the needs to participate in an internet-enabled economy and communications and having access to your phone and cable, the fact that there aren't any public phones anymore, so you have to have a fucking cell phone. None of that is taken into account. In 1963, it should have cost you this much to fill your refrigerator. We multiply it by 3, and then we adjust it for inflation. That's the poverty line. It's been that way for 60 years, and god damn it, it'll be that way for the next 60. Like, what the fuck? They really do just make shit up and then see what'll float. It's based on nothing. It's based on, and then the question that I have not, tried to go down the rabbit hole to answer, because it's probably deeply buried, is where the fuck did that number come from in 1963? Who did that? What did they do it from? What organization calculated this number? Was it the federal government? And what was the diet? Can we see what the diet is that we then multiply by 3, and that's the federal poverty line? Can we see that number? Because I'd like to see not only the number, but I'd like to see how many fucking cartons of eggs and gallons of milk it is, because I'd just really be interested. How the fuck? And who decided what a nutritious diet is in 1963? It used to be a food pyramid. I think it used to be a food fucking square. There was a food circle. There was a food pentagram that the Republicans put forward. Had some goat horns in the background. We decided against that one. The chart on what a healthy diet is has changed a dozen times since 1963. But you know what hasn't changed is the mathematic formula for determining poverty, which is based on a healthy diet in 1963 times 3. What the fuck is that about? If memory serves, that number also assumed a housewife able to do scratch-made foods, homemade bread, not bought bread, and a garden to supplement the shopping. Really? Really? I started wondering about this thing. I was watching videos by, stuff, it's Reich? Who's the guy? Who's the Inequality for All is I think it's a book, a film, and another thing, all by, come on, where's his fucking name? It's gotta be there. Robert Reich, who was somebody under Clinton. He was U.S. Labor Secretary under Clinton. You know, so he was a financial guy at the time in America, the only one that I remember that I know of in our history where we had a surplus in the budget as opposed to a deficit. That he was doing the financial stuff for Clinton at that time. I was looking into that stuff from him, and like he wasn't talking about any of the things that I just talked about. I mean, he was talking about things that are related to it, but like these numbers that I came up with, that just like occurred to me, like, what is the cost of poverty in America today? And I just went to the fucking 2020 census, and said, what is it? I looked them up from the government, looked up the numbers, 38 million. Okay, there's this many million, and then we do that, and then we say, so in order to, and then if the poverty line is this, we divide it by 2 and assume that somebody's going to need all the money, somebody's only going to need a penny, so then the middle of it's going to be like 6,500 a month, so 6,500 times the 38 million, that's the 240 billion that we need, and then 240 billion, what do we spend every year in taxes, or what does the U.S. Government spend every year? Oh, it's up to about $7 trillion a year now, and every year they put another like 1.5 to 2 trillion, just dump it on the debt, on the deficit. Okay, so we need 240 billion to eliminate poverty, and then you see what we spend money on and go, why haven't we done this? Why haven't we done this? Why do we have all of these complicated jump through fucking hoops, prove this, prove that, show us your bank account, show us this, that, and the other thing? I mean, I know why, but like, why on that greater philosophical, like, how did we allow anyone to do this? We've got all these various programs that you got to sign up for individually, and they make it hard for you to sign up, and most people don't even know that these programs exist, but you can get the money that would help you get out of poverty, but only if you could find the places, and you got the time, and you got the resources, and you get a fucking fax machine, and what if everybody who didn't have 13 grand got however much they needed to have 13 grand? Was my question. And so I looked into that, and then I was like, where did this poverty line come from? And I looked it up, and I found it on the fucking census page, on the federal government's own page. We use a figure from 1963. What? Oh, Rip the Jar knew who I was talking about. Soylent Green is cheap, shouldn't cost more than $100 a month, so we should lower the poverty line to $3,600 a year. If you get too close to getting out of poverty, then they take that 8 away faster than you can make up the difference. Yeah. And like, I live down here. I live below this poverty line, and I can say it is very effective. I don't interact with, like, the healthcare thing. I get healthcare for free. Technically, I have healthcare for free right now through the state of Michigan, I think. I had to sign up, or else they were going to try and, like, I got sick of having to, like, lie on my taxes. Although it wasn't a lie, it was just, like, I got sick of filling this thing out that says, like, there were no one in my area offered health care at a reasonable rate. The declaration that you had to make every year on your fucking taxes if you didn't have health care or a health insurer. So I finally just like went online and said, all right, what do I got to fill out? And it was actually surprisingly quick and easy to fill it out. And then it just kind of clicked into place. The one thing that they wanted was for me to go to a doctor. So I've got myalgic encephalomyelitis, self-diagnosed because a lot of reasons. But so myalgic encephalomyelitis, I go in and I'm just trying to, like, I'm not giving him that I have this. I'm giving him, here are my symptoms. I typed up a thing. It's, here's all my symptoms. Here's the various things that I've had. I tried to think about it, like, how can I not waste this guy's time, but also tell him what's relevant. I picked out a doctor in order to have my lookup and be my general physician, who said on their website, or who, under the WebMD listing, had experience treating patients with chronic fatigue syndrome. I walked in, doctor walked in, and I had, written on my thing, I think I've got chronic fatigue syndrome. I came here because that kind of a thing. So it was on the chart. He walks in, closes the door. First thing he says is, "Hey, how's it going? I have no experience with chronic fatigue syndrome. You still want to see me?" So I live below this poverty line. I live with all of these systems that they try and, create as these magic rings that you got to light on fucking fire and then jump through in order to get access to the things that you're supposed to have access to. And I can say, from personal experience, it's very useful. It's very functional at what it's trying to do, which is gate you away from actually getting access to it. It does it. I'm not going to jump through those fucking flaming rings. In various circumstances, I've tried to start processes and found out how hard it was to begin them. I have watched my mother, who has Sjogren's syndrome, spend like a decade of her life seeing doctor after doctor after doctor after doctor, while living in my grandmother's basement, because she couldn't afford to live, because she had no income, because she had a debilitating disease. Her full-time job then became trying to convince the Social Security disability courts that she actually had the disease. She had, a decade's worth of fucking medical treatments, doctor's records of all the different tests they've done trying to figure out what's wrong with her. And Sjogren's is a diagnosis of exclusion, which means you test everything, and if it's none of those, then I guess it's going to be this. She has all these records, and it's her full-time job to try and make that happen. But here's the other thing. SSDI claims Social Security disability if you are a disabled person in this country. If it's not written on your sheet that you are missing a head, your first claim will be denied. It is just the policy of the court to deny the first claim, which sets you back like 6 months. So you got to file the first one. You need a lawyer, first off, to interact with the system. You cannot interact with the system without a lawyer. There is no chance that you will get anything done unless you hire a lawyer. As a disabled person who has no income, who is filing with the federal government because you have no income and have no way of making income because you are a disabled person, you're going to need to hire a lawyer with your not income that you don't have. And so there is an industry now in America that has come up from where the lawyers that do this, the way that they work is you don't have to pay them anything up front. They will take 25% of your bulk payout, because the way this works is that you're going to spend years of your life filing for SSDI, and that's why you need the lawyers, because the lawyers are going to constantly have to push another piece of paperwork through and push another piece of paperwork through and push another piece of paperwork through. The gears turn, at this draconianly, it's slow as shit. But something has to be done at each of these points, because each of these points, if you don't do that thing, then you're kicked completely out of the system and you got to start over again, as though it were designed that way or something. And so you got to have the lawyers. The lawyers got to get paid, and so you can't possibly pay them. So they came up with the structure: 25%. We'll take 25% of your bulk payment, because once you get cleared of SSDI, then they have to pay you for every day since the day that you filed. Every day that they should have been, helping you because you had no income and you were living in your fucking mother's basement, and still didn't have enough money to contribute to the food, and were borrowing from people, and still had to go to all these doctors and didn't have any income to support that either, and all of these things, then they'll pay you a big back lump sum of whatever they determine, you should have. Your monthly income that they'll determine on SSDI to be $1,200 a month, they'll pay you back for the 3, 4, 5 years you've been fucking waiting on the list of SSDI. And then the lawyers that you needed because they made the system this way will take 25% of it, which, if you're doing the math here, And it's not math, really, but if you're just sort of, if you're figuring things out here, means that the lawyers who represent you in the SSDI courts have an incentive to make sure that it takes as long as possible because they get a 25% payment on your back pay, right? So, like, if they manage to, like, get your SSDI cleared up in the first, like, 3 months, your back pay is going to be $3,600 or something like that. They get 25% of that. That's not helpful to them. What they want to do is file each piece of paperwork as slowly as they possibly can, leave it there until it's almost expired, and then file the next piece of paperwork. Because all they have to do is get a whole bunch of people like that once a month or two. They do 5 minutes of work on your case, filing the next piece of paperwork, and then they get 25% of what you should have had to survive when you didn't have it to survive and had no way to get it otherwise and somehow still managed to survive. They are waiting for you to die. The United States federal government Social Security Disability Insurance Program is designed in the hope that you will die before you complete it. There is no federal program that like supplements it in the interim. While you're waiting for SSDI, they don't like give you a certain amount of money that, like, if it turns out you don't get SSDI, then you'll have to pay us back or some shit like that. There's none of that exists. So they're literally talking to people who are filing for government support because they can't pay their own bills because they've become disabled. And they're saying, we'll see you in 7 years. Like, I believe I have an aunt who also filed for SSDI when she was a lot younger, and it took her 7 years. It took my mom 3 years after 10, 12 years of diagnoses to get to the point that she had, that it was a diagnosis of Sjogren's syndrome, which now you've got the diagnosis, now you can start the process. I have myalgic encephalomyelitis, which is very close in a lot of the symptoms to Sjogren's syndrome. So it's, just genetic, passed down kind of a thing. I have myalgic encephalomyelitis, self-diagnosed. Maybe I don't. Pretty fucking sure. But I have that. I couldn't start SSDI until I got a diagnosis. It took my mom 12 years to get her Sjogren's diagnosis. And Sjogren's is actually more well-known than myalgic encephalomyelitis. People may have heard of myalgic encephalomyelitis, but as far as I know, there is one doctor in the entire state of Michigan who has experience with chronic fatigue syndrome myalgic encephalomyelitis patients. One doctor who has some amount of experience. Guy who lived right around here, Beverly Hills, Michigan, had like a clinic for this thing, and he died 3 years before I realized that I had it. In order to get treatment for my disease, in order to find someone who understands what the disease even is, so they're not wasting your time running a bunch of tests that aren't going to produce anything, so that they're not like actually sapping your life and your energy and what will and what force you do have, what strength you have as this disease is sucking it out from under you, someone who can actually be a physician to you. In order to get treatment for my disease, I would have to go to California. That's where everybody is. And then I guess I'll just somehow pay California doctor rates. I can't even start the process of getting a diagnosis in order to even start the process of begging SSDI for the money that I would need. And really, I should have started it, 5 years ago. I should get the SSDI and then keep working, or keep doing what we do here, and then whatever you guys pay me, and then I take the SSDI, and then they'll just take that off the top, and they'll bring me up to that poverty line level, like we were talking about. That's what the situation should be, because there's going to come a day where I can't do even this anymore. This is a disease that just cripples you and cripples you and cripples you and cripples you more and more over time. It can get better. It doesn't have to go all the way down. I've had some surprisingly good months and good years, and had some really low ones to have to come back from and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's a poorly understood disease that used to just be pretended like it wasn't even a thing. It used to just be called female hysteria. Because, 80% of the people who have my disease are women. So they just used to call it hysteria. They're hysterical, these women. And I don't mean funny. I can't start that. I live in a country that waits for its people to die so it doesn't have to pay, doesn't have to help people who are disabled. And this is why there have been several times that I have just talked about, like, I just need to get out. Like, does anybody know if there are any American refugee programs being run? Anybody who's accepting American refugees? File some paperwork and say, this is American, I got this problem, this is, and they're just like, yeah, no, come on in. Come on in, we got room. We know, it's America. Nobody in my area offers health insurance at a reasonable rate. My area, the entire country. Yeah, there you go. Same phenomenon has developed over here the last decade, too. People talk of personal tragedies and accidents and disease, but the real battle is to qualify for the equivalent of SSDI. I think, Ryan Stone says, I think all of this is talk about how poorly run the federal government is. Indeed. How poorly run kind of all of the government is. And it's just down to the people who are elected and how they get elected, which is by force of money, which is because rich people are selling us representatives. And those representatives have like been trained to mean nothing, say nothing, represent nothing, make sure you don't know what really they're talking about. And like they just don't say anything. And then if we put $1 billion in marketing behind them and don't give you any more than these two options, who are you going to vote for? You know, vote for somebody who's like a history professor, who like has credentials, who's been working in their local community with a lot of groups for a number of years and things like that, who's got all the experience and the credentials to actually do the job? Or are you going to vote for the guy with the incredibly shiny teeth who has been on your television like an hour and a half out of every 24-hour day since he started running, who's on all of the billboards, whose name is talked about in all the papers, who people just keep having these conversations about who's going to win between him and the other guy, while ignoring the history professor, your local area, who's also running and who has the credentials and the experience and who generally has lived a life that's been representing himself in his local community for, like, who are you going to vote for? Not him. Can't even remember his fucking name. This guy on the billboard, I can barely forget the guy's fucking name. That's how our democracy works anymore. In other words, our democracy does not work anymore. It has been undermined by the inequality, by the economic inequality, globally, not just locally in America. Is her condition hereditary? Asked the Amish Stig. Sjogren's syndrome? I don't think there's anybody in our family back of her who had these kinds of symptoms. Yeah. I don't think so. If you have mild or moderate ME/CFS, you should be offered cognitive behavioral therapy. That's what you're saying. Fucking lol, this is unhelpful. You should be offered cognitive behavioral therapy. CBT is a talking treatment that can help you manage ME/CFS by changing the way you think and behave. This quote taken from a 2014 medical book that was based on a study that was found later to the doctors who ran the study had to rip like 70% of the fucking patients out of it in order to come to this conclusion. That's the old women's hysteria shit. Maybe it's not so bad. Let's just talk about it, yeah. And then the Amish Stig says, in reply to Ryan Stone, that it's poorly run by design by those running on a platform of elect me so I can sabotage government. Yes, to pull it back, full loop where we started. The idea of just having, you know, political powers and political parties and just individuals who operate on this idea that, you know, the best thing that we could do to or for or with our government is to put people in place who will destroy it from within because it's not useful to me. So, and that's who they vote for. I mean, the entire Republican Party is that, right? It's you could say, no, it's the Libertarians, it's the Tea Party, it's the this or it's the that. No, it's the entire Republican Party. They get in, they take the money that's of the American people, they rip the taxes out, give it back to the rich. They undermine all of the social systems that exist and then turn around and say, see, it's failing. We should just get rid of it anyway. They stand in there and complain that the USPS can't be solvent, which it shouldn't have to be solvent. It's a public service that we provide for ourselves as American citizens through our fucking government. But they complain that it can't be solvent. It can't pay its own bills and has to be underwritten. And we should let the private markets do this because they could do it better. But the only reason that the USPS isn't solvent is because they require the USPS in order to fund their employees' retirement accounts the day that they're fucking hired, which is a practice that doesn't exist anywhere on the fucking planet for any private entity. It's a law that they put in place specifically to chop the legs out from the USPS so that they could then turn around later and say, see, they're not solvent. It doesn't work. It can't pay for itself. Yeah, because you made it impossible for it to pay for itself. You shoot somebody in the dick and then say, this guy's dickless. Let's see. Are you saying you are that guy? Which guy? I'm not the dickless guy, see Kraken Boy. I don't think it was initially designed to be poorly run, more slow, but lobbying has made the representatives we elect want to run it poorly since they will make more money. Yeah, I mean, it's I guess it's technically like lobbying is a fair word to use for it. It's what we've been calling, it's what it was called mainly. I feel like Clinton era was when I heard the term lobbying mostly, but it's just that I don't like that word. I think it makes it sound like it's a reasonable thing that they're just lobbying the government. They're just requesting access, that kind of a thing. It's just the rich people who already have the means to represent their own interests, appealing to the government of the people who cannot represent their own interests and who therefore established a government to represent it for them, to dismiss the interests of the people for whom the government was created by, of, and for, in deference to the interests of the people who have all of the money, who don't need somebody to watch out for their interests. I don't like that lobbying. It just sounds too like even if it's a bad thing, it's like, how bad can it be? It's lobbying, you know? I prefer treason. I think treason is a better word for it. Lava Lamp is gifted a sub to the Amish Stig. Thank you so much, Lava Lamp. Amish Stig, welcome back to the Big Dick Club. And distraction. Yeah, there you go. You can't distract me. What? Let's see. If it was medical genetics could get you formal diagnosis with pretty minimal fuss, and like they're working on, like, last I heard they had gone through one test which was able to diagnose myalgic encephalomyelitis up to 95% accuracy, which is not enough for medical science. So they're not allowed. So they can't use that as a diagnosis. That's not helpful. I feel like there might be another way that's gotten better, but the problem is, it's medicine. It moves slow. You got to prove it and then reprove it and then prove it. You prove it on a small scale with a small test, and then that means that maybe you can get funding in order to run a larger test, and then you run the larger test, and then that means like maybe now you can get people around the country to run local tests in order to confirm the tests, and so it's like there might be a way now to actually just diagnose based on blood work. But you were talking about like in the gene line or something like that. There might be a way to get the diagnosis, but it is not, as I am currently aware, available as of yet. And I'm not sure. There have been so many lies about myalgic encephalomyelitis and chronic fatigue syndrome that it's hard to figure out which of these things is true. Actually it was it Lava Lamp or Little Magnets? Somebody who posted the thing where it was like, you should get cognitive behavioral therapy. You should just talk to a psychiatrist because clearly you're just chronically fatigued. You're just kind of tired all the time. It's not that you're in pain constantly. It's not that you suddenly collapse to the ground over the course of 30 seconds where it feels like your blood pressure just dropped to about 5. That's not it. It's not that it's fibromyalgia and bowel issues, which I don't really, I guess maybe a little, I've got pretty good bowel, but there's so many things that are part of this that come down to chronic pain That's why they had to change the name like 7 times, was because every name that they came up with, somebody saw it as a way or a reason to dismiss it. Again, 80% of the people who have my condition are women. Da-da-da. So, you know, it's, why is it that this condition keeps being dismissed and told it's all in your head? I don't know. I don't know, really. Lobbying, verb, legalized bribery. I think just treason. I think treason is the thing that we need to replace lobbying with, you know? If you're spending money to use the American public's government against the interests of the American public, that is conspiracy and collusion against the people of the United States of America and treason. There's no argument for that. The only way that there could be an argument for it, the only argument that could exist is, but it's done so often. That would be it. It's just like, well, but it's done so often, then I guess it's legal. You know, I guess it's not treason because people do it all the time. No, it's still treason. It just means a lot of people do it. What it means is we need some federal enforcement of our fucking laws. I don't think you'd have to draft a new law, really. Like conspiracy to commit crimes, conspiracy against the people of the United States of America. A number of people who were on Donald Trump's campaign team have been prosecuted under that law. So it's a very alive and well and viable and useful law. Can we please just extend it to the people who are buying our government out from under us, who are putting people into office by power of their money and then having those people appoint individuals to our regulatory agencies whose last job was defeating our regulatory agencies for the companies that are regulated by them? Can we just call that treason and conspiracy and prosecute it? Thank you. And, you know, if it's like $5,000 or 5 years in prison, keep your money. Get in fucking prison. Let's put some people in goddamn jail, please. Lobbying is the word that most people use to describe it, so that's what I used. Yeah, it's fair enough. But okay, so there you go. I managed to rant instead of do anything Kerbal Space Program. That's fun, and you guys stayed with me. I've been watching the view phase, you know, the longer that I rant about this shit, you know, I've been watching, just looking up every couple of days. Hey, the same number of people who were here when I started shrieking. You guys stay with me. That's not good. You're encouraging the wrong behavior. Now I'm going to do it more. Unless that's what you want. How do you like it, baby? I am the Ronin Ball. Thank you. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for letting me, for an hour, just rant about the state of the world. State of the state of the state of things. Of the state of California, of the state. We'll be back this Thursday, 2 days from now, at roundabouts. I've been starting up at 4:30. I might start even a little bit later. Is my sleep schedule switching around? Let's say somewhere between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. And then I'll probably be whenever. So sometime on Thursday, be back with more live stream. Probably Kerbal. Maybe not. I guess you have to be here to find out. Point out!
Singing. La, la, la.